serving in that post. He is not among the officials who have resigned in the wake of this impeachment inquiry. And he is one of the folks who's already on the schedule to come back and speak to lawmakers in a public testimony next week.
Former White House chief strategist Steve Bannon is expected to testify against Roger Stone in his trial over allegedly lying to Congress. Correspondent Shimon Prokopech says the prosecution is working to show a direct link between Bannon and Stone.
They described him as being the CEO of the campaign and how he and Roger Stone were in touch, that they were talking over email, that they were going back and forth in their discussions.
Correspondent Jim Roop reports two violent criminals who escaped a Northern California jail Sunday night have not been captured by U.S. Border Patrol agents.
The two escaped the Monterey County Jail, where they were awaiting separate murder trials since 2018. They apparently discovered a blind spot in their cell and were able to cut the small hole. They made their way 450 miles south of Tijuana, but for some reason tried to cross back into the U.S. late last night, where they were taken into custody.
The ex-attorney general forced out by President Trump, Jeff Sessions, plans to announce his candidacy tomorrow for his former Senate seat in Alabama. Two former employees of Twitter and a third man from Saudi Arabia face U.S. charges of spying for the kingdom. They're accused of digging up private user data and giving it to Saudi officials in exchange for payment. I'm Barbara Cusack.
You are now tuned into the truth frequency.
We are TFR.
Truth Frequency Radio. Condition orange. Condition orange. Situation Delta in effect. Please enter your agent number now, followed by the hash key.
We have to create culture. Don't watch TV. Don't read magazines. Don't even listen to NPR.
Time comes when silence is betrayal.
More for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them.
Think for yourself. Question authority.
This code has been compromised.
Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is Wednesday, November 6th, 2019. This is the Gematria Effect. I'm Zachary K. Hubbard. On every Wednesday night for 3 hours, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. to midnight Eastern. Do the math on your own time zone. If you never listened before, we are a caller-friendly program. 90% of the show is your calls. Always appreciate when we get first-time callers. If you want to phone in tonight, the number is 213-233-3998. Again, 213-233-3998. If the gentleman's out there who made this sweatshirt that I'm wearing, I don't think you've ever called in before. But I appreciate it if you did, and let me know why you made this sweatshirt for me, because I do appreciate it very much. I put it to good use since the day you sent it to me in the mail. And if you are watching on YouTube, we are live streaming. People always say, Zach, that sweatshirt looks like it's Jesuit or something. And it's just, it's the design this gentleman came up with. He made this sweatshirt for me shortly after the death of Chris Cornell. That's whose face is on the sweatshirt. But just felt like wearing it today in case that gentleman's out there, because I haven't heard from him for a minute. So what's to talk about? You know, what's buzzing in the mainstream? The Mexico massacre, more of Donald Trump versus the whistleblower. A 6-year-old on the 6th of Ohio brings a loaded gun to kindergarten. I'd rather not talk about any of it. I already put out a video today on the Mexico massacre, and we've covered the ongoing Trump saga. It's another day of news by the numbers. So rather than boring ourselves with all that, let's just do what we typically do and get out to the callers. And tonight, first in line is Nebraska. And before I go out to Nebraska, I just want to say, Larry Johnson, if you're out there, I'd love for you to call into the program tonight. I've been trying to track down Larry Johnson to see if he's willing to come on here and share his story. He's been making the waves, former football player, saying there's a Masonic agenda within professional football these days to feminize young men. And he says it's really all throughout the world of sports. And I got to agree. And I'd love to talk to him about it. So if he is out there, love to hear from Larry tonight. All right. That said, let's go out to Nebraska.
Yo, what's good, Zach?
What's good? And hey, before you go any further, I'm going to keep my eye on the chat. I want to hear from the chat if they can hear you okay, because tonight I'm using a mic stand, so the mic's further away from the speaker. So go ahead. I'm going to keep my eyes on the chat. If the chat can tell me that the caller sounds just fine, that would be very helpful. But you got the floor, friend.
All right. Well, I just had a quick call anyway, Zach. I just noticed something really funny. Donald Trump became the president on inauguration November 9th, right? That's when election day was, correct? 11/9.
Well, election day was actually November 8th, but they announced that he was the president in the early hours of November 9th.
Okay, yep, I knew it was something like that. Well, I was watching wrestling out of nowhere one day, just saw Chris Jericho come across the screen, and his song was playing as he was walking down, and it's the Walls of Jericho, and that just made me think that how about I just go look up Chris Jericho's birthday, and I thought it was funny that it was November 9th. Mm-hmm. And with his whole theme and his finishing moves being the Walls of Jericho, and we know about the Walls of Jericho in history as well, where that took place at what part of the world. And I just thought it was a funny correlation between him and Trump was also in WWE. So I don't know if you ever covered that before. I can't quite remember, but when I saw his birthday, I was just like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah, I do remember covering that sometime back, the whole Chris Jericho riddle and his song about the walls coming down in his birthday. Yes, indeed. Yep, but that's all I had. That's all I really want to call in about. Yep, you can go ahead and just keep on through callers, but. All right, appreciate it, friend. Good reminder. For anyone who missed that older work on Chris Jericho and Donald Trump and the WWE and the whole ritual with the wall and the Berlin Wall and November 9th, the videos have been removed by Google, but the blog posts are still there. So a good reminder, friend. You have a good night. All right, let's go out to Texas. Texas, you got the floor.
Starting to decide in September isn't even appropriate. Okay?
Texas?
Then the Clinton Foundation goes ahead and submits the 990 annual report form to the IRS and to multiple states, like 45.
I think he's talking to somebody else right now. We'll come back to Texas. Let's go out to New York. New York.
Hello there, Zach. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Hi there, Zach. This is Mel. I spoke to you a couple of weeks ago. And once again, I'm a big fan of yours. And I have a couple of things on my mind today, Zach. The first thing I want to talk to you about is that I've been doing my own little research, and there is no doubt that there is an organic numerological matrix that everybody is involved in. And I'll tell you why, because there was I have done a lot of research on these NDEs, the near-death experiences, right, of people that have claimed to have died and they came back and then they reported what they saw, right? And in one particular case, there was this guy who said when he died, and he was in New York actually, and he flew out of his body. He went up into out of his body. He could see his own body and all that. And then he describes everything as numerological. Everything that he saw was all numbers everywhere. And he could, like, for example, he became a spirit, right? He had died, he became a spirit. And then there he was, and he could tell how many people were in the apartment building, how many in each apartment, how many members in each family. Everything was numerological. Everything he saw was connected with numbers, right? So there's one evidence right there. Plus several other, and he had nothing. This guy didn't know anything about gematria or anything like that. So he was like a totally unknown layman, right? And he had this experience, and there he was watching all these numbers. So there's no doubt there's a numerological organic matrix. The question is, and I believe if you did some research, Jack, for example, if you looked into not celebrities, but just decoded regular events, you might be finding a lot of these connections as well in just regular things. So there's the matrix that we live in, right? Now, the question is, and we also know that the elites know about it, because there's no doubt you couldn't have written a song in 1983. It's impossible that's going to tell you, like, murder by numbers. And it's impossible that without knowing this, you could have come up with a movie poster or a movie of murder by numbers and said 8-3. It's just unbelievable. So there's somebody that knows this, right? So the question is, what is it that they know? And, and these people are not stupid. They are definitely, the Freemasons are not a joke, Zach, as you know. They have no doubt access to everything that has happened in history, because they are rewriting everything. So they are aware, for example, they know how much the Bible is true. I'm sure the elites would know if Jesus was real or not, right? What the history is true, things that they're not telling us. So what are your thoughts on this about the organic matrix, and how much of this are they actually, have they penetrated into and corrupting this organic matrix, and your thoughts about that?
Sure. So the last chapter of my book is about the organic side of the code from my own personal experience. And when I first began investigating this research, it was something I came across just reading the work of another. And yeah, absolutely. I know there's an organic side. I've told this story 1,000 times before. Maybe you've heard me say it, maybe not, but I'll just say it again.
Yes.
I was in a bookstore, and I was going through the numerology section, and I found an author who wrote a book about our own personal numerology and how the numbers of our birthday and the numbers of our name dictate the course of our life. And it all sounded a little bit silly to me at the time. And that author claimed that if you used a cipher, one of the first two ciphers I learned about, the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology, and you took apart your name, if you found the numbers behind your full name and the people in your lives' full names, you'd see these, unbelievable patterns. And I thought, well, let's see. Right. So the first names I decoded were my mother's name, my father's name, and my own name, because I figured if I was going to have a connection to anybody in this world, it would have to be them. And I noticed using that cipher, my father's full name summed to 89, my mother's full name summed to 62, and my full name summed to 89, just like my father. And of course, 89 and 62 in numerology both break down to 8. 8 plus 9 is 17, 1 plus 7 is 8, 62, 6 plus 2 is 8. But then in light of my father and I summing to 89, I said, that's like my mom's birthday. Her birthday is September 8th, which is written 8-9 in the majority of the world. And I had to go back and look, because my dad always told me when I was young that something cool about my birthday is what was in the paper was that the day I was born was the coldest day ever recorded in history in the time of, such recordings. And still to this day, again, if you do a web search right now and you type in what's the coldest day ever recorded, it'll come up July 21st, 1983. It's the day I was born. And the record temperature was negative 89 Celsius. So I was like, wow. So all of our names or our birthdays connect to 89, and then that was the record temperature that day. So from that day on, I thought, okay, I guess this isn't so silly. Maybe there is something to this. And I remember just looking at my friends. My father and I, we both have birth numerology that breaks down to 31 and 4. And I noticed my good friends, their birthdays broke down to 31. My best friend growing up, his birthday was March 1st. He didn't have the 31 birth numerology, but 3-1. So yeah, I just started to realize that what I'd written in that book, which I kind of first thought sounded silly, I started to see right away that, wow, there's definitely something to this. And I got the same type of thought you did back then. I said, well, if there's something organic going on, maybe that explains why in the media they're coding numbers every single day. Maybe they're trying to sway the organic matrix.
Right. Yeah, it seems like they're very well aware of something, and it seems like they're deep thinkers, and they're not stupid. They're very, very intelligent, deeply intelligent, whoever these elite people are, because they discovered this code, and they're trying to manipulate it. That shows that they're amazingly, like, they know something that we don't. Also, Zach, I'm sorry. The other one I want to talk to you about is this guy, Larry Johnson, right? Recently, the guy who just admitted that they could be all this DiMaggio stuff. From listening to him, as well as like from watching all these football games and everything, it seems to me that the players are being used. They are unaware of it because, Tim Tebow, right? He said, listen, one day I was walking back into and this guy, he spoke about it on YouTube. He was like telling one of his friends, he said, one day I was walking back from after playing, right? And one of his friends runs up to him and tells him, listen, did you realize that everything you did today was 316? Everything, your scoring was 316, the numbers were 316, everything pointed to 316, including the stock market went up 316 points or whatever. So the guy was like, what? He had no idea. Tim Tebow was like, really? I didn't even realize that I had scored. So it seems to me that many of these players are unaware of what's happening to them. They're being used. The question is, what the heck are they doing? How is it possible that they're rigging it in such a way that even the players don't know what the heck is happening?
Sure.
What are your thoughts about that?
Well, that's why I'd love to have Larry Johnson on, because I'd point out things to him like a memorable play this season is when the Redskins played the Patriots, and the Redskins, their one big score of the game, it came on a play where the Patriots, seemingly to me, were clearly told not to tackle the man because none of them tried to tackle the player. They all tucked their arms in as he ran by. So I've witnessed too many things like that over the years to think that the players are unaware. But there are some things that take place on the sports field that are hard to explain through scripting. And again, that does point to the organic side. So it's a little bit of both. But I am of the belief that at least some of the players on the field are in on it.
They're in on it. Absolutely, Zach. And by the way, anyway, it's amazing, Zach. Great talking to you. Your show is awesome, and you keep putting up those videos. I was surprised that the Google took out one of your videos that you had put up earlier, and I was looking at it, and I said, man, this video is cut out. Like, every time they cut your video, you never know what's going to happen,
Sure, and today was a new form of censorship. Nobody could access the live stream. I've never seen that before, so hopefully that doesn't happen again. And I'm glad it's working tonight, which is nice. So I was worried that maybe tonight the live stream wasn't going to work, but here we are.
Yeah, Zach, good luck to you, Zach. I'm looking forward to talking to you again soon. I'm going to let somebody else speak.
All right. Take care, friend. Great call. Great questions. You have a good night.
All right. Later.
Take care. And in light of him talking about the near-death experience and seeing numbers, it's interesting. Just before I got on here, I was listening to Forbidden Knowledge. I recently went on his live stream, and he had a recent guest. I haven't finished listening to the broadcast, but he had a gentleman on there talking about all that's encoded in the layout of Washington, D.C., and he begins that broadcast by talking about the near-death experience that he had and how when he nearly passed, how he was seeing geometric shapes everywhere. And I've heard this before. The caller who we just had in said he was talking about somebody who had a near-death experience and they saw numbers. I've heard other people say that in near-death experiences, they've seen geometric shapes. And to me, that makes sense. I haven't had a near-death experience, but I do have a number of hallucinogenic drug experiences. And anytime I've used hallucinogenic drugs, I've always seen a lot of sacred geometry and geometric shapes. in nature, and especially if you look up at the sky. And again, that's the belief of the ancients, that God created the world essentially through geometry, and gematria is geometry and language. And again, the Kabbalistic belief is that God created the world through letters, numbers, and words, which is relating to gematria, which relates to geometry. And if you've read my book, there is a chapter on sacred geometry and the significance of the flower of life and the 61 circles and the significance of 61 and how it's encoded into the spiritualities of the world. So yeah, there's definitely something much greater to geometry than most of us were led to understand or believe from our public school. Well, I'm sure some of you didn't go to public school, but I imagine even in private school, the curriculum's not that much different. But when we took geometry in school, we didn't learn about the spiritual side. And it's a shame because, there's obviously a lot more to know about this subject. And had some of us been enlightened to that when we were youngsters in school learning about this, we might have taken greater interest. And again, that really is the shame of the education system, withholding so many important subjects, even gematria. I imagine how many people would take a greater liking to mathematics and language if this were introduced to them. I can't think of how many people have left a comment that, hey, ever since I learned about your work, I actually like math now. I've hated math my whole life, but now I'm into math. And again, another project, another goal of mine, if I can ever get the time to do anything besides the grind I'm on right now, is to figure out how to introduce a curriculum for young people to engage in this and not have it be so conspiratorial, but just more educational and enlightening and just putting the knowledge in people's hands, because I believe anyone who does have this knowledge, once it's there, they're just going to catch on to things that they would have otherwise glanced over. So we got about 6 minutes till the break. Rambo is next in line, but I'm going to keep Rambo till after the break because we know Rambo's always got a lot to share. And as long as Rambo calls in, that's just pretty much going to be his time slot. After the 30-minute break, you can always expect Rambo to phone in. Always a great segment, probably the best of the show. Not to say that we don't get a lot of other great calls, because we do. But that said, let's go out to Canton, Ohio. How are you, caller? Ohio? Maybe.
Hello, Zach. This is Pete from Ohio.
Thanks for calling in.
How are you? I got your book there, and I just wanted to comment on the Mexico killings. I started to watch your video, and it was shut down real quick. Other than that, I liked what you're doing, and God bless you, and thanks for taking my call. And we'll see what's going to come out on your new webpage.
Yes, very excited for that. And one thing that's going to be on there is Rambo's Corner. So I need to get here in contact with Rambo and get his email address so I can get him a login. But hopefully we're going to get a lot more Rambo out there. And that's one of the most exciting things for me about the upcoming website. And again, there are two websites being built. There's one that's the community platform so that we can expand our network and strengthen our lines of communication and help people make new friends. And then the other website's going to be to get around the censorship, just a place where I can post content and not have to fear it being taken down. And also on that website, I built a little section for Rambo to post more of his research out the week, so we don't just have to wait until Wednesday to hear from him. So coming soon.
That's good to hear. One quick thing too, I sent you a message a while back and to let you know that there's a people that's taking your gematria channel and transferring it to Spanish. So I just wanted you to know that, and for the Spanish people out there that listening to your show, for them to know that it's coming out in Spanish.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much. And again, what's the name of that channel?
I have to send it to you because I think I sent it to you like a couple of weeks ago. But I'll look it up and I'll send it to you in an email.
Okay. I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Take care. All right. Let's go out to New York City.
Oh, hey, brother. I wasn't expected to come on. How you doing?
Doing well.
Okay. All right, I'll make this quick because I know we have the main event coming up with Rambo. So I just want to say, first off, we'll show you guys love and peace. And I love this channel because it's just like a great way of, it's like a mixed martial arts. This is like a mixed, how do you say? We're putting a lot of wisdom and time and effort, and we're not wasting each other's time. Because even if every night I learn one thing from something out there, it's worth it. And that's why I really enjoy this channel you set up. So I just want to say thank you again for this network.
Very welcome. And thanks for being a part of it.
No problem, brother. Okay. Real quick about first of all, Stash is not here. He was out in Jersey today, so he's home taking a break from a long. I think he was taking a bike ride, so it's just me flying solo. We had the elections on Tuesday, and on Monday here in Long Island, well, there's a story that came out Tuesday, but a politician who died at the age of 89, he was a big-time politician in the 60s and 70s, and his son now, obviously, is running, and he won the past 3 years anyway, so he won. But the day before the election, the politician who was older and retired, he dies the day before the election. His son wins again. Now, obviously, you could say, sacrifice, or the timing of it is quite ironic. But then I started breaking down the numbers on it. His name is John Cochran Sr. So John Cochran Sr., if you put senior as SR, as the paper wrote it, in English ordinal, it's 151. But in the story, the first word they said was, the keyword was bittersweet, in quotes. Now, if you look at bittersweet, the reverse ordinal of bittersweet is 151. So you have his name is 151 in English ordinal, but the reverse is 151. But then it also says he was in the Navy in 1947, and in both names you have 47, and bittersweet in the reverse is 74. But bittersweet in full reduction is 47, but John Cochran Sr. in reverse full reduction is 74. So in both words they use, John Cochran Sr. and bittersweet, had the reflection of each other. So it wasn't just the actual matching. Sometimes you can have patterns matching in the reverse. You don't say like a mirror-like effect, that's as above, so below.
Right. Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, because sometimes patterns aren't exactly like tit for tat. Sometimes patterns are like, you know what I'm saying? Like they're the opposite of each other. And it was interesting whenever they put keywords in a story like that. So I just found it intriguing that a politician whose son now is winning passed before the night he won, to make it some bittersweet story. But obviously the timing is, I think, a little too convenient. It's your dad dies right before you win, and he was a politician, you're a politician. And it kind of goes all the lines of probably sacrifice. So maybe just the timing to make a nice story. But the politician, he won 11 terms. The thing is about that is it said from Islip. And Islip, the main road in Islip, is Route 111.
Oh,
right? New York,
pause right there. The music's coming on. Be right back, everybody. We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, it's Chris Gio, founder of Truth Frequency Radio and host of Beyond the Veil. The mainstream media and establishment are running scared right now, and they've prominently featured TruthFrequencyRadio.com as number 89 on the federal government's hit list, also known as the fake news list, which is essentially a list of sites slated for censorship on Facebook, YouTube, Google, and other social media. Now is the time for you to get involved. Share your favorite TFR shows far and wide on forums and social media. Tell your friends and family about your favorite shows. If you're a business owner, get in touch with us to feature your product or service right here on TFR. And if you haven't done so already, become a TFR supporter now and get unlimited commercial-free downloads in high quality. Visit truthfrequencyradio.com/sign up. Thank you for making TFR the leader in independent and uncensored talk radio. Truth Frequency Radio, your protection from deception.
Poor water quality is a major health issue, and it's only getting worse. Municipalities can't keep up, standards have dropped, and pollutants are increasing. Where does it all end? It ends by keeping the pollutant outside of your home with HydroCare's advanced systems available at Wave Home Solutions. No less than the best purification materials and processes have been developed by HydroCare to provide you with healthy, clean water for drinking, cooking, and showering. HydroCare far surpasses the competition in removing chlorine, odors, iron, lead, chemicals, limescale, and much more. Don't settle for less when it comes to your water. We'll take care of the toughest water problems for you, whether it's from a city or well source. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, call 888-997-WAVE. That's 888-997-WAVE. Or go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
Hey everyone, it's Mark Sargent from Strange World, broadcasting live every Tuesday evening, 10 to 12 Eastern, 7 to 9 Pacific, right here on True Frequency Radio. Strange World covers a wide range of topics, from enclosed world theory to lunar waves to the end of the world in film. It's basically doomsday with a silver lining. With the audience as my co-host, we take an optimistic approach to all things conspiracy and promote confidence, hope, and humor whenever possible. If there's a topic you want us to cover or a guest you would like to see interviewed, please email me at msargent23@comcast.net. So please join me and tell your friends about True Frequency Radio, the leader in real radio programming, bringing you quality, cutting-edge broadcasts from around the world.
Real people, real radio. Wherever you are, make it TFR. Truth Frequency Radio.
All right, we're back, True Seeker. Over the break, I did something I should have probably done 3 years ago. I hooked up the speaker to the auxiliary speaker, which sounds a lot better. So the rest of the way, everyone's calls should sound much clearer. And sorry it took me 3 years to think about that, but let's go back out to New York, who got interrupted by the call, or not the call, but the commercial. And again, if you're on the line, I see a lot of people call in and hang up. Be patient. I'm going to get to your call. Everybody who's on the board right now, I'm going to get to your call. All right, let's go back out to New York.
All right, that was just the end of it. The last thing was he was a GOP assemblyman, but from the town of Islip. And the main road that goes through Islip is Route 111. That's the actual New York. But the key thing is that he won 11 times. My point is, so what do you say, the word one, O-N-E, or one, W-O-N, it's really the same phrase, one, one. So he won 11 times, yet you actually have 111, 111, and that's the main road through Islip is 111. So it's amazing how the language and the code is coded like that. When you say, oh, I'm a settlement from Islip, and I won 11 times, but it's like a nice little play on words with the 111. It's just, so I just thought I'd bring that up. And his name was, like I said, John Cochran Sr., who died on election eve, so his son could win the next day, which is great irony, and that's how it works with sacrifice. So I thank you for your time, and go Rambo.
All right, appreciate it, friend. Great call as always. You have a good night.
Take care, bro.
All right, take care.
You too.
All right. That said, Rambo, you got the floor.
What a build-up, huh?
That might be too loud. Yeah, yeah. Good to have you on. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's always great to be on your show. Thanks for all the kind words and support.
Of course.
Big D and the rest of the audience, from you especially. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, you're the best, Rambo. Keep it up, man.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. I also Mel, who called earlier. I like the topics he brings up. He brought up a couple of weeks ago the book of Urantia, talked about Jesus Christ as an avatar. That's something that's been brought up a lot of other places. You look at the work of Edgar Casey. He was a genius, but he became a genius after the death experiences. And he also brought up the Jesus, all the analogs of Jesus as well. And he also talked about forbidden knowledge. Oh, yeah, he's pretty good too. He talked about the same thing. Because some people feel that Jesus Christ is a metaphor for Kundalini energy and stuff. That could be the case, but it's not necessarily mutually exclusive. He could be a metaphor and can also be a biological entity that has different names over different generations of it. What I wanted to talk about is Big D also alluded to what I want to talk about. He's talking about how a politician, how the father died, and then the politician benefited. And we talk about it all the time. Blood sacrifices where somebody dies for the benefit of somebody else. I'm going to put that in a little bit of context before I talk about what I want to talk about. I actually want to focus on two particular deaths. One is from back in 1993, and the other is from 2012. We're all aware, at least this audience, this community, of the concept of human sacrifice as a prerequisite, a requirement for another person or group of people's ascension. This belief and practice goes back to the oldest documented human civilization, the Sumerian culture. The Sumerian creation account, in their creation account, the human species was created by gods. That is gods with a small g, not the true original source of existence. The gods, also known as fallen angels or Anunnaki, are reported as physical, biological beings of extreme intellectual advancement. The most prominent translation of the Sumerian creation mythology in academia is the Assyrian and Babylonian Epic of Atrahasis, which is itself a retelling of the original Sumerian account, which could be more than 10,000 years old. The gods, quote unquote, are said to have sacrificed one of their own, another god, slash Anunnaki, slash fallen angel, in order to give man the consciousness, intellect, and potential for evolution that it now has. I want to read some excerpts from the Atrahasis. This is an English translation. Quote, "Let one god be slaughtered, then let the gods be cleansed by immersion. From the flesh of the god, let a spirit remain." So what they're saying is, from the sacrifice, they're talking about a physical being. From the sacrifice of that physical being, that being's spirit will be in the human race. They say, from the flesh of the god, let the spirit remain. The great Anuna gods who administer destinies. What do they mean by administer destinies? That's what we're talking about, what the elites do. They're determining what will happen, the fate of humanity, how outcomes of certain events. That's exactly what we talk about. A sacrifice to determine the outcome. Let's say the great Anuna gods who administer destinies. They slaughtered Ao Ilu, who had the inspiration in their assembly. So that's the root of it. The elite bloodlines believe that humanity was given to them to lord over by the fallen angels, aka Anunnaki, or the Watchers. Think of the eye symbol that they use. They're called the Watchers. Whether or not you believe the Sumerian account of human evolution, the fact is those who dominate the world do believe it. And it's important to understand the context in which things like sacrificial deaths are ritually simulated or actually performed. So I just want to give that as a backdrop to talk about the two deaths that may have been sacrifices for, using the Atrahasis terminology, administering destinies. The destiny I'm referring to is the grand stage of the Super Bowl. The first death is that of actor River Phoenix, who died on October 31st, Halloween of 1993. The name Phoenix is, at this moment, one of the most prominent names in the news, with River Phoenix's brother, Joaquin, the front runner for the highest accolade in acting, the Oscar for Best Actor, for his role in the movie Joker. That is not, it's not only continuing to storm the box office, but it's inspiring some political protests around the world. To synchronize this with football, the former owner of the Arizona/Phoenix Cardinals died the day before Joker movie starring Phoenix was released. River Phoenix's death and birth synchronize with the Super Bowl. When you look at his name gematria and the dates of his birth, death, and those of Super Bowls. Phoenix has gematria of 91. From River Phoenix's 1993 October 31st death to the next Super Bowl was 91 days. That Super Bowl was held on January 30th, 1994. This year, 2019, from River Phoenix's birthday, August 23rd, to the next Super Bowl, February 2nd, 2020, is 163 days. 163 is the gematria of River Phoenix. River Phoenix's birthday of August 23rd leaves 130 days in the year. 130, like the date, 130, January 30th, the date of the Super Bowl played after his death. Super Bowl 28. Again, Phoenix hosted 91. That Super Bowl played 91 days after his death. River Phoenix comes to 163. The next Super Bowl will be 163 days after his birthday. And remember that this past Halloween, on River Phoenix's death anniversary, the one NFL game on Thursday Night Football was hosted by Phoenix, the city, home of the Arizona Cardinals, who played the 49ers. On his death anniversary, Halloween of 2019, when Phoenix hosted the 49ers, River Phoenix would have been 49 years old. More indications of River Phoenix as a Super Bowl sacrifice. The number 131. Super Bowl sums to 131. His death date of October 31st is written 1031. In numerology, 0 has no value, so 1031 is 131. River Phoenix died at the Los Angeles club called the Viper Room. Viper Room sums to 131. In fact, Viper Room and Super Bowl have a super match in 3 out of 4 base ciphers. At 131, 112, and 49. There's that number, 49 again. The upcoming Super Bowl will be held on February 2nd of the Gregorian calendar. In the Hebrew Civic calendar, that is Shivat, the 5th month and the 7th day. 57, when it's spelled out, sums to 131. 57 spelled out also sums to 50. This will be the 50th Super Bowl of the modern era. 57 spelled out also sums to 49. Championship sums to 131. All this 49 coding could point to a 49er Super Bowl appearance. It could. But another narrative is a Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl appearance. Dallas sums to 49. Jerry Jones sums to 49. The Black Cat Ritual, which was held on Monday Night Football, it's 2 days ago. It was done at a Dallas Cowboys game. And you should look up Jerry Jones's comment on the Black Cat. And there's some wild comments. He's talking about the cat making eye contact with him, and he has this really wild tweet about, just look up Jerry Jones's comments on that Black Cat. It's some pretty wild stuff. Also, consider that River Phoenix's death occurred in between Super Bowls involving the Dallas Cowboys and the Buffalo Bills. Super Bowls 27 and 28. The date of Super Bowl 27 was January 31st. 131, again, like October 31st, 10031, 131 numerology. River Phoenix's death date at the Viper Room, 131. Super Bowl equals 131. Jerry Jones equals 131. And guess what Jerry Jones's birthday is? 13th October, 1310. So I would be remiss at this point if I did not mention this. Anunnaki sums to 131. I don't know if that's connected, but that's just what the numbers say. In light of the Buffalo Bills appearing in Super Bowls, either side of River Phoenix's death, his brother Joaquin Phoenix, arguably the top celebrity at the moment, who made the 911 call at River Phoenix's death, Joaquin Phoenix's birthday is October 28th. Who else's birthday is October 28th? The Buffalo Bills. Founded on October 28th. Now, the other death that I want to discuss is not as big a celebrity as River Phoenix. That's the death of Dallas Cowboys linebacker Jerry Brown in 2012. This also could indicate, to use the Babylonian term, the administering of destinies, future Super Bowl destinies. I've spoken about how the 6-day span from this year's October 1st through October 6th was a big week, rich in ritual and possible predictive programming. On October 1st in Dallas, you had the sentencing trial of Dallas police officer Amber Geiger, the key witness of which was Joshua Brown. The next day saw the death of former Phoenix Cardinals owner Bill Bidwill. The next day, you saw the unofficial release of Joker movie. The next day was the official release date of Joker and the death of key prosecution witness Joshua Brown in Dallas at the famous Parkland Memorial Hospital. 2 days later, the Dallas Cowboys hosted the Green Bay Packers. So a lot happened in that 6-day period. And they all connect. I mentioned how Joshua Brown is another Super Bowl sacrifice, among other ritual symbols. The upcoming Super Bowl is in Miami, Florida, at the Hard Rock Stadium, home of the Miami Dolphins. On the witness stand, Joshua Brown wore an aqua green t-shirt, the color of the Miami Dolphins jersey. He has a tattoo, Florida, in all caps, on his upper inner arm. Hard Rock Corporation, which sponsors the stadium, founded 14th June 146, Joshua Brown sums to 146. His t-shirt read Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z sums to 112 and 49, like Super Bowl sums to 112 and 49. Well, on December 8th, 2012, Dallas Cowboys linebacker Jerry Brown was killed in Irving, a suburb of Dallas, in a car driven by teammate Joshua Brent. Look at the names of the players involved: Joshua Brent and Jerry Brown. One has the first name Joshua, the other has the last name Brown. Joshua Brown. In honor of Jerry Brown, the Cowboys wore a decal on their helmets with his jersey number 53. Black Cat sums to 53. The Black Cat ritual just occurred on November 4th on Monday Night Football. November 4th, it was 114. The car crash happened on Texas Highway 114. NFL Week 9 sums to 53. 9 Lives sums to 53. NFL teams have 53-man rosters. NFL fields are 53 yards wide. 5-3 sums to 53. The Dallas Cowboys are now 5-3 after the Black Cat game. Again, 53 was Jerry Brown's number, who died on Highway 114. The Black Cat game was on 114, a date leaving 57 days in the year. Among the 3 numbers that Jerry Brown wore in his career was the number 57 also. And the other was 20, like 2020. Also, one last thing I want to mention that today, November 6th, because I'm speaking about the Phoenix Cardinals, Arizona Cardinals football team. Today, November 6th, happens to be Pat Tillman's birthday, former Phoenix Cardinal. I just mentioned that. But yeah, I got more to Super Bowl decode, but that's it for now. And again, thanks again for sharing your platform.
Of course, Rambo. Interesting as always, and really appreciate it, friend. Keep up the great work.
All right, take care. Have a good night.
All right, have a good night. Take care, Rambo. All right, and I know I told you guys last week that it seemed like the website was about a week out. The last I'd heard from the development team, it was about a week out, but now he thinks it's going to be another week. So, you know, I guess it's kind of how it goes when people are building things. It usually ends up taking longer than expected. So let's hope by next Wednesday the website is live. And if it is, maybe Rambo will be able to post his notes there. So I'm going to contact Rambo this week. I just took a little screenshot again. I got to remember to call him. And I need to get his email so I can create a login for him on the website. And don't want to put too much pressure on him, but I would love for him to have a place to post and share his research where it will be received and found. So hopefully that's a week out and no further. All right, let's keep it moving with the callers. Texas, thank you for your patience.
Just listening in, man.
All right, appreciate it, friend. You have a good night.
All right, take care.
All right, take care. Let's go out to Delaware.
Hey, what's going on, Zach?
Hey, what's up, man?
Okay, can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear.
Okay. All right, well, I want to talk about the recent shooting that happened in Oxon Hill, Maryland, that happened over the re-released chicken sandwich at Louisiana Popeyes. Happened in Oxon Hill, Maryland.
Okay.
Supposedly there was a man stabbed. Supposedly there was a man stabbed in line. He supposedly got cut in line and he got stabbed. And the whole stabbing thing kind of reminds me of Julius Caesar, because there's some 47, like the number 47 is stamped on this. And this could also be a riddle for the upcoming Super Bowl as well.
Can you tell me what date this happened?
So, I've seen 2 different news sources. CBS News is saying that it happened on Monday, this past Monday, and then one source is saying that it happened this past Sunday, because I remember one of my friends telling me that it was getting re-released on Sunday because Chick-fil-A is closed on Sundays. So I'm pretty sure it happened on Sunday, and then like this, and like the news story broke on Monday.
Okay, so I'm listening. I just had to type in Popeyes to see what it equals, and I see right away it equals 38, like death, and 47, which you're just talking about. And I also see a 25. Death is 38 and 25. And a lot of you, maybe I don't mean to ruin your decal, but I typed in Popeyes, and right away it says it was founded in New Orleans and headquartered now in Miami. And I'm thinking, those are interesting Super Bowl things right there, Miami and Florida this year. But okay, you got the floor, friend. I'm listening.
All right. Well, yeah. As everyone heard, yeah, the chain was founded in New Orleans, and now it's out in Miami, Florida. But it was from the day it was founded on June 12th, 1972, up until today, is an exact span of 47 years or 147 days.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, my bad. Yeah, I'll make sure that's right. So I was into myself. I gotta do it again to make sure I was right. But yeah, that's right. And I find it interesting because Popeyes in the reduction, in the single reduction, equals 47, just like Maryland, where the shooting took place at. And also Louisiana Popeyes equals 86, like blood sacrifice, like Prince George County, where Oxon Hill, Maryland is. And the owner's name, Al Copeland, his name also equals 38, like RIP, like killing, like murder, like death, like Popeyes, like Louisiana. So yeah, this story is definitely got to be like a Super Bowl riddle or something, because there's a lot of interesting numbers. Oh yeah, and also Oxon Hill, MD, with Maryland abbreviated, equals 54 and 45. Just like the black woman who's a spokesperson for the commercials and Popeyes. Her name is Deidre, Deidrie. Her name comes to 45, 45, and 54.
Okay.
So I also find that I found that also very interesting too. And from the source of the news from when it happened, I'm just gonna type in Monday up until the Super Bowl, because I found a number that was interesting, or it looked pretty interesting from the day of the Super Bowl. That's 20. Oh yeah, it's a span of 88 days, and Maryland equals 88, as well as Maryland equals 88, as well as what else? That's what equals 88. That's the change in Mafia. Well, I can't find it, but yeah, I'll remember it later on. But yeah, that was it that I had for tonight.
Okay. Well, a lot of people have asked me to look into this story, so I appreciate you doing research on it. It looks like the stabbing did happen Monday, which was November 4th. So yeah, you gave me a great start. I'll do some more on it because that's been a popular request. Can I look into the Popeye stabbing? And I feel like there was a story like this regarding Popeyes maybe a couple months back, a shooting or a stabbing at a Popeyes over a sandwich as well. So
yeah, I was also on Google, like just searching, I typed in Popeyes chicken stabbing. It brought up the shooting that happened too recently before this even happened. So
a part of me feels like this is a really sinister advertising campaign. People killing each other because the sandwiches are just that good. So I appreciate it, friend.
Right. And it's also like target. Oh, you're welcome, man.
We just went to commercial break. I wasn't even paying attention. All right. Be right back, everybody.
In today's modern media, from the mainstream to YouTube and Google, the information you're looking for is buried by official narratives and propaganda. This is why TFR is 100% uncensored, unregulated, and listener supported. The shows on TFR are not micromanaged by the station, and our hosts are free to speak their minds however they please. As such, the views and opinions expressed on our station are of those who make them. If you happen to hear anything offensive on TFR, please send us an email to toughtitty@tfrlive.com, and we'll be happy to tell you that we really don't give a damn. We stand for freedom of speech and non-censorship. If you also stand for free speech, you can go to tfrlive.com/sign up and sign up for a TFR supporter pass and help us in our mission to keep the airwaves uncensored and unregulated. TFR Live, your uncensored and unregulated protection.
Hearing concerned, moral objection rule halted. I'm Barbara Kusak. Transcripts released in the impeachment hearings from top diplomat to Ukraine Bill Taylor indicate that he told the House inquiry it was his clear understanding U.S. military aid for Ukraine would be held back until it agreed to investigate President Trump's political rivals. Correspondent Pamela Brown has more on the White House response to what was said.
To say the White House views Bill Taylor's testimony as the most damaging so far for the president's case, and there was heightened concern among aides ahead of his public testimony next week. One reason why is his credibility. He's a former West Point grad, Vietnam vet. He is still in his government post. He was handpicked by one of the president's favorite cabinet members, Mike Pompeo.
The Washington Post reports tonight that President Trump had wanted Attorney General William Barr to hold a news conference declaring Trump broke no laws during his July phone call in question with Ukraine's president. Sources said that Barr decided against it. Correspondent Joe Ramsey reports a federal judge struck down a new federal moral objection rule for abortion providers.
The rule let clinicians object to providing abortions and other services that conflict with their moral and religious beliefs. But 19 states, the District of Columbia, 3 local governments, health organizations, and others sued the Department of Health and Human Services, arguing the rule was unconstitutional because it would be discriminatory and stall access to health care for populations nationwide.
The judge said the Health and Human Services Department overstepped its authority. A white Wisconsin man has been charged with a hate crime after he allegedly threw what police are calling battery acid onto a Hispanic man's face and told him to go back to his country. The victim, who was born in Peru, is now a U.S. citizen. A white supremacist gang member, Justin Hall, has been executed for strangling a West Texas woman over fears she would alert police about his drug operation. He was put to death this evening by lethal injection at the state penitentiary in Huntsville. I'm Barbara Kusak.
Your protection from deception. This is Truth Frequency Radio.
Condition orange. Condition orange. Situation Delta in effect. Please enter your agent number now, followed by the hash key.
We have to create culture. Don't watch TV. Don't read magazines. Don't even listen to NPR.
Time comes when silence is betrayal.
More for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them.
Think for yourself. Question 3.
This crew has been compromised.
Welcome back, Truth Seeker. We're 1 hour in. We got 2 hours left. Just to let people know where they are online, we're going to Maryland next, New Jersey, Salt Lake, Utah, Michigan, Georgia, New York City, Texas, and it looks like that's the line for now. Over the commercial break, I just took a peek at the Popeye story. The victim, they say, is 28-year-old Kevin Tyrell Davis. This is the man who was fatally stabbed in the Popeye's chicken incident. And what stands out about his name, Kevin Tyrell Davis, just using the alphabetic order and the rules numerology, what's considered the most pure cipher, his name sums to 73, like sacrifice. We see that number show up a lot around death. And if you lose the middle name and just write Kevin Davis, with the alphabetic order and rules numerology, his name sums to 44. And if you run the alphabetic order in reverse, it sums to 64, just like the word kill, 44 and 64. So those numbers that just show up again and again in headlines of death encoded into the victim's name. And remember, when you run the alphabetic order in reverse with the rules of numerology, kill sums to 28. He was 28 years old. So we just talked about how those same numbers are coded all over the Mexico Mormon massacre story. All right, let's go out to Maryland.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, what's up, Zach, man? Peace to you, man.
Thank you. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, of course, man. I want to make it a habit. I think it's like my third or fourth time calling, and man, the show was just awesome. The viewers, everybody watching was just awesome. I appreciate everybody. It's really nice to see how we can put all our heads together and come up with new stuff. Because I'm sitting here doing the decode while I'm on hold. You know what I mean? Listening to Rambo and everybody else. So
very cool.
It's truly awesome. Yes, sir. But just a couple quick comments and a couple of things that I noticed, like I say, with the decode. For one, it is true. My first and last name, I'm not going to say it, but my first and last name is definitely my birthday, February 26th, which is like super cool. So yeah, that's definitely true right there. Wanted to have a question for you about the dude that called in about, I think it was last week or it might have been the week before, but he called in trying to get you to basically give him a good date in which he could stop smoking. Did you hear from that guy about that little experiment?
Well, the date I gave him starts this Friday, so I haven't heard back yet.
Oh, it didn't even start yet.
Right.
It didn't even start yet. My fault. All right, cool. All right. Another question is, how do you know, and this is what I've been trying to figure out, how do you know what the day's numerology is? Like today, how do you know that is the numerology for today?
Sure. So, well, just like gematria, there's a few paths. So the most pure path is just taking all the digits of the day and just adding it digit by digit. So, for example, today's November 6th, 2019. So you'd add 1 plus 1 for November, 11, 1 plus 1, and then plus 6 for the day, and then plus 2, plus 0, plus 1, plus 9. So what is that? That's 20. So today would be 20, and then of course 20 in numerology is 2 plus 0 is 2. So if you were born today, that would be your number. You'd be a 2. And there's another path called a life lesson number, and the way that works is you add 11 plus 6, so you have 17, and then you add the year digit by digit, 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 9, so that would be 29. And again, that's going to break down to the same digit as the other method. So 29 in numerology is 2 plus 9 is 11. And then 11, if you want to break it down further, is 1 plus 1 is 2. And then the other path is you add 11 plus 6 plus 20 plus 19. So you add the year in 2 parts. So you just know all throughout 2019, you're just going to be adding plus 39 for that method, right? Because it's plus 20 plus 19. So it's 39 plus 11 plus 6 in this case. So what is that? 56. So 56, and then again, 5 plus 6 is 11, 1 plus 1 is 2. So it's all going to break down to 2, but those would be your 3 paths. And then there's also an abbreviated path where you skip the 20 parts. So you just write the date 11/6/19, and then you add 11 plus 6 plus 19, 36. That'd be the least pure method, but that's how you do it.
Okay, cool. I definitely followed you. Gotcha. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
Something that I noticed throughout the week, I looked up, this kind of gets to the decode. I looked up 411, the information 411 itself, pretty much from your videos. And, you were talking about the 11.3 and then also the 11.4. Well, the deep thing that I found is that 411, they have another code that they used when it first came out, which was 113. 113 was the alternate to 411. That code was used in 1985, which is also interesting because, the 8 and the 5 is the 13 right there. And then the 1 and the 9, of course, is, 10. And then, so that's the 113 basically right there. So I thought that was super interesting. But it started to get real deep when, believe it or not, of course, when Rambo got on, and also one of the girl Marion in the chat, she basically wrote a couple of things down there. So basically, to get to it, I don't want to take too much time, but basically River Phoenix, to me, his most famous movie that he was in was Stand By Me. Stand By Me has a gematria of 103 and 31. that goes into the 1 and the 3 again. You know what pretty much what we're talking about.
Sure.
Also, the movie Prometheus that has a gematria of 130, so the same numbers, but it shares another 2 ciphers, or another 2 numbers rather, in different ciphers with Stand By Me, which is 140 and 50. So Prometheus actually equals 140, 50, 130, and 49. So what sticks out again is the 130 and also the 140 and the 50. But then also a movie that's also similar to that Prometheus, because you know it's about the big Anunnaki guys, you know, the big giants, the Nephilim, or whatever you want to call them. But basically, I looked up Percy Jackson as well. Percy Jackson also equals 140 and 50. That talks about the how he was a demigod. Basically, his father was one of the gods, Poseidon, and he comes down and has sex with the mortal woman, and that's how Percy Jackson came about. Also, Anunnaki, I think Rambo already said this, but Anunnaki is 31, and it's also 131. So this to me is also a connection to basically the Popeyes thing, and this is where, like I say, I got this from the girl Murray, and she punched in Eye of Horus. Eye of Horus equals 133 and 43. Eye of Ra equals 33 and 114. That's super interesting because Popeye, like Popeyes, the restaurant. So basically, it happened like the guy said in Prince George's County. Prince by itself equals 38, just like how Popeyes does. George's equals 113 and 32, which is of course interesting again, because here goes the 113 again. And man, this stuff just keeps popping up. Like this is like a major ritual right here that they have going on. And I'll leave you with this. I won't take up no more time, but this is very interesting to me, is that the Popeyes and the John Witherspoon thing, I think, are definitely connected. You have John Witherspoon, who played the grandfather on the show, the cartoon, The Boondocks. And they had an episode where there was a killer chicken, basically. The chicken was, killing all the people. And the people were just so dumb and so ignorant that they were still eating the chicken. But basically, we had that, and the chicken was, like I said, was poison or whatever. So now you have the Popeyes thing going on, and also the John Witherspoon thing basically happened at the same exact time. That episode, go figure, was season 3, episode 13, man. And I'll just leave it at that. I can't believe my eyes. Like, and this episode happened every bit of 7 to 8 years ago. So, maybe even longer than that now. So, yeah, you're talking about something that's been planned for a long time. I don't know if they've been planning to kill John Witherspoon and all, but he's definitely a victim of, what happened. And I can guarantee that he's connected, to that whole Popeyes ritual right there.
Indeed. I'll do some more research on that. I appreciate it. Keep connecting the dots. Great call.
Oh, definitely, man. Thanks, man. Take care. I appreciate you as always.
Yep, very welcome. You have a good night, friend.
You too. Enjoy.
Always love to hear people getting inspired and doing the work and sharing the work. And what's funny is you brought up that movie Prometheus, and I forgot that movie existed. If I'm not mistaken, that was the first film I saw after I learned about this whole letters and numbers thing. And it wasn't a new film at the time. I saw it after it had been out for however long. But I remember when I first learned this, because the film set on the planet LV-223. And I didn't even know the meaning of 223 and how significant it was. I didn't even know what Jewish gematria was. Masonics 223 in Jewish gematria. I didn't really know much when I saw the movie, but what I thought of with LV-223 is I was like, L's the 12th letter. So L in numerology is 3. And then V's the 22nd letter. And you don't have to reduce 22 in numerology. It's the master builder number. So essentially LV is 322. And I was looking at that. I was like, okay, so LV 322 223. I was like, that can't be an accident. And, from that day on, just making observation after observation. And I was really like, as in, yeah, this is a language that people are using, and they're putting it in everything from the news to movies to. I went back and looked at books that I used to really enjoy. I was like, man, is Kurt Vonnegut up on this? Was Kurt Vonnegut encoding his character names? And I mean, he probably was. It's like this is a language for people in certain, secret societies that, again, it's secretive, but obviously it's known to certain groups of people, just not us common folk until recent years because of the work of myself and others putting it out there. So, yeah, Prometheus. I'm going to have to go back and look at that movie. I remember that being an interesting movie, but it's been a minute since I saw it. But LV223, I remember that. All right, let's go out to New Jersey.
Hey.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're on.
How you doing, bro?
Doing well, thank you.
All right. Hey, I just want to thank you. I just came across you guys talking about some videos and movies, and I would share one or two.
Go ahead.
What does the number 72 mean?
Well, it's associated with the 72 names of God in Kabbalah, and it's also associated with the names of 72 demons. So it's definitely a number that has some relevance to it.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so let me lead you in my direction. I come across a movie I watched 100 times, The Water Boy.
Okay.
And it was encoded that this is the greatest conspiracy to all your video watchers right now. You ready?
I'm ready.
What was encoded in the Water Boy movie was 911. Not only that, but he was a jet airplane. And when he made a sound, it was a jet turbine spooling up. Inside the classroom, there was plenty of evidence to show what they were going to do. There was a painting of a burning building. And there was another one turned to dust.
Huh.
There was many things that happened in that movie that proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that there's not a conspiracy anymore. So what had happened was he drop kicked them. And 72 got drop kicked. And I looked up the number, and I looked up his name. He drop kicked them. And in the English, it comes to 164 and 11. The full reduction is 101 and 2. In the reverse original, it's 322 and 7. And in the reverse full reduction, it's 88.
Huh. You know what? I just had to type in the release date for The Water Boy. I know it's an Adam Sandler film, but it's one I've never seen. Do you know what day that film came out? It came out November 6th.
Yeah, 3 years before.
November 6th. Today's the anniversary.
3 years before.
Today's the 21-year anniversary of The Water Boy. And but what's interesting about November 6th, of course, if you flip that date upside down, it is 911. But also, I'm just doing the numerology of the date real quick. It has numerology of 134 and 44, and 9th of Av, which is the other way to say Tisha B'Av, equals 134 and 44. And when 9/11 did happen in 2001, it was 44 days after the 9th of Av, or Tisha B'Av. So I've never seen this film, but I'm taking your word for it. And I always go to the release date of a film anytime I hear anything like this. And right away, the release date is on point with what you're saying. So I'm going to have to, maybe I'll have to watch it.
The producer or the director is Frank Coracia.
I see that.
And, Fonzarelli. I see in the beginning of the movie, he holds the book. It's the code book. It's the green code book.
Huh.
And he wears the Freemason ring
right
in front of him. And then he covets his code book and his playbook for the whole movie. He stole it. And he becomes this mercenary to take down the Twin Towers. And so he taunts the audience the entire time. And they even use the mind control and the frequency device, from the 5G, the noisy crickets. You can find all this and more if you watch this movie. Not to mention, one other video that I watched. It's called The Pink Panther 2. And in that movie, it was about the pink diamond and the tornado. The tornado buys pink diamonds, and he uses the money to pay for fake diamonds to bomb buildings.
Huh.
Right? And this guy is a billionaire from Japan. So he's the tornado. And in that movie, The Pink Panther 2, it's encoded that they're making fake diamonds. They're calling them fake, and they're bombing buildings. Because of course, The Pink Panther, it always shows the guy with the bomb in front of London Bridge, or not London Bridge, Big Ben. So that'll be London's target. Will be Big Ben down the road when it grows next diamond. That'll be sold as a tribute for payment, of course. You know, and so that's what you got, buddy.
Yeah, very interesting. I haven't seen either of those films, but yeah, great observations. So I see Pink Panther 2 came out in 2009, so it wasn't predictive programming, but yeah, maybe mocking what did happen. So
Well, I think the biggest giveaway is the Waterboy movie. He puts the 2001 on the back of the number one. The guy in the stands is waving number one. Also, if you do a lot of still images of this movie, you're going to find out it's all fakery in the background. And you're going to find bloody people, and it could cause you some serious nosebleeds. It did me. If you have a seizure, it could cause a seizure. This movie. Okay, so it's a serious movie but now it's the Waterboy movie, so it's not the Twin Tower movie, it's the Waterboy movie. So now something is happening to our water as a result, and also there would be one devastating effect for New York City to get flooded, and that would be their tribute to $100 bill when that occurs. So that's where we're at. And the one video I want to share with all your people, and because I just came across it today when I was looking at some of my old data, and it's called NASA End of Mankind, Leaked Document 2013. And this was their agenda for what we're in now. So their agenda on this plan is they're actually doing this agenda now. And if your readers or your viewers watch this, they'll learn exactly what's happening. The country is at war with the citizens. So it's a big deal. And if you want to get out of this country, it's probably the best time a year ago when they said, go, go, go. So now we're at a year later and 5G is real. And you may have some buzzing in your ears, some noisy crickets to boot. And if you do, then I suggest you protest your ass off and tear down those cell phone towers, because that's what's doing it to you.
well, very possible. My ear's been ringing. My ear's been ringing nonstop since lost track of time. I think since January 2006. So that's when it started for me. But I do appreciate it, friend.
It's called phased array antenna. Phased array antenna. And if you want to know whose invention this is Nikola Tesla's invention. And if you want to know who stole the invention, it was John J. Trump's, who was Trump's uncle. He was there, and they stole all the evidence. And it was him and Van de Graaff together who worked on the device. And it's all about the beam energy weaponry and the radar. And if you do your research, you'll find out Trump was head of radar, even though he was a private. And he's got some serious patents that all deal with electromagnetic wave beam energy. This is what it's all about. And now you got 5G, and they're not going to stop it.
All right, friend. Appreciate the heads up.
Run to a third world country and get away as far as you can, if that's what we can do. But if we can't do it, then we're going to suffer. And we can look at it, and we can debate all we want, what we believe, but the truth is the truth. Or the country is at war with itself. There's no problem.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate it, friend. You have a good night. Thank you.
I appreciate it, man. Bye. Take it easy.
All right. Take care. Yeah. I don't think it's healthy for us to be, surrounded with all the waves that we are. And I know that there's a lot of people that are really worried about the 5G and the health consequences, and rightfully so. Again, I think obviously it's a stronger frequency than what we're already subjected to. But I really think the biggest concern with 5G is just how it allows them to build their surveillance state because of the, if you've done research on 5G, you understand how it boosts the surveillance capability and drone surveillance and all of that. So to me, that's the biggest concern. But yeah, the health concerns rightfully so there too. I mean, we live in such a toxic world, from the food that's laced with the harmful chemicals, whatever they do in the sky every single day, all the different waves that we're subjected to. And I mean, even beyond that, the fact that they've scared every parent into keeping their children indoors all day. So you see the obesity with the children. They're not getting the exercise that many of us got growing up in earlier generations. It's just not a good time to be alive in terms of human health and human well-being. I think I talked about this last week, but Rambo, since he brought up Joker again, that film is really a compliment, if you will, to the main talking points of the mainstream media on a daily basis. That film talks about mental illness, pharmaceutical drug use, bullying, and it even in a way touches on gun control. There's a scene where the Joker's given a gun and he says, "Oh, a person like me, shouldn't have a gun. I have mental illness." And what are we hearing in every mass shooting? And of course, there's a violent shooting scene in the film on live TV. So again, from the mainstream to Hollywood, the same ideas are being pushed into the consciousness of the public. So that's what this Joker film is largely about. Let's go out to Utah. Utah? Shoot, I see Utah talking, but I cannot hear them right now. Utah, sit tight. Don't hang up. I'm going to try the next caller just to see. Sometimes the call board gets funny and I have to reset it. And for whatever reason, I can't hear the caller. So don't hang up. I'm just going to try the next caller. And I'll come back to you, assuming we have a larger problem here. Michigan, can you hear me? Michigan? Sometimes. I see what's going on. Okay, I see what happened. So Michigan, I can't hear you either. Let me try to fix this right now in real time. I don't know why it does this sometimes. Hold on. Technical glitch. Okay, I got it fixed. That's too bad. Utah and Michigan just hung up. Oh, no, Utah's still there. Utah, I'll tell you what, we got 15 seconds till the commercial break. So right when we come back, we'll come back to Utah. I know I'll be able to hear them then. And just had to connect that quick glitch. Sometimes it disconnects me from the call board, so then I can't hear the callers. But the music should kick on any moment here. We'll have an hour and a half left when we get back, and we'll be taking your calls the rest of the way. If you do want to call in, 213-233-3998. Be right back, everybody.
December 2018. Extendivite works in keeping my blood pressure in normal range. I've been using Extendivite for many years now. May 2018. Great product. I use regularly and I rarely get sick. March 2018. This product has relieved what appeared to be a kind of pain in my chest and shortness of breath after climbing stairs. I'm quite happy about it. February 2018. My husband, son, and I have been using this product for a few months now, and we have noticed an improvement in our joints and blood pressure. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Do you want to lose weight but have no idea where to begin? The Fast Start Diet, a 3-day weight loss plan, is the answer. 3 days of nutritionally balanced, calorie-restricted meals delivered right to your door. No shopping, no measuring, and no cooking. Everything is prepared for you and ready to eat at home or on the go. The Fast Start Diet has all the amazing benefits of intermittent fasting without starving. We've helped thousands of people who have struggled to reach their weight loss goals. Isn't it time we helped you? With the Fast Start Diet, you'll lose weight and feel great.
Find us on Amazon or go to faststartdiet.com and use promo code POWER to get $10 off your first box. As a special bonus, we will include our #1 rated Lipo3 appetite suppressant spray free with your order. Whatever your diet plans are, start with us at faststartdiet.com and use promo code POWER.
For 5,000 years, the world was ruled with wooden ships by one man. 242 years ago, a small group of free men crafted a new nation built on liberty and freedom. Global elites have been fighting to destroy this new nation called America ever since. Based on actual events, Charm of Favor tells a true story of how they corrupted the election system. They infiltrated federal agencies and murdered witnesses, judges, and even presidents to keep from being caught. Now, the largest and wealthiest crime syndicate the world has ever known has been drawn out of the shadows. They have killed hundreds of Americans and recently attempted to assassinate half our congressmen. Still, they escape arrest through an almost supernatural charm of favor. Read Charm of Favor and be prepared to open your eyes to what may lie just around the corner. Charm of Favor is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
You are now tuned into the truth frequency.
Your protection from deception. TFR.
Truth Frequency Radio.
All right, we're back, Truth Seeker. We're at the midway point. We've got an hour and a half left. Again, we'll be taking your calls the rest of the way. I got the call board fixed. We're going to go out to Utah, New York, Texas, Virginia, Oklahoma, Texas again, Georgia, Michigan back to back, and Michigan again. Wow, 3 Michigan callers in a row. That's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that before, but yeah, without further ado, let's try this again, Utah. Apology for the technical glitch a moment ago. You got the floor.
Welcome back, Truth Seeker.
Hey, well, thanks for calling. Yeah, I do hear you.
Hey, I'm mostly just listening, but the speaker sounds a lot better. And that last caller, right after you, buddy, there's been one engineer who, he was in Australia. He started learning about the cell phone systems overpowering and sending way too much power through the microwave. But he tried to destroy one shelter with like a tank he borrowed, and he served like 18 months. So I just want to ask you why. I think we're all afraid of revolution, right? Nobody wants to go to the Illuminati jail for 10 years for tearing down a cell tower. That's been straight from CIA headquarters.
Well,
trying to incite something.
Well, that's a thought, or he could be serious about, starting the revolution. And, I've always said before, and had the FBI come to my door before, I mean, the revolution needs to happen. And you know,
Yeah.
it needs to happen. And there is safety in numbers, but how do we get it so that there's a large enough group that's organized and willing? That's the challenge, because so many people, first of all, so many people aren't willing, but then so many other people, they have so many obstacles and they have responsibilities and they have children and families. And part of the reason I don't have children or families is because I've essentially always wanted to be a revolutionary, and I want to see this happen. So what he said,
Hey, man.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'm sorry. I should listen better.
Well, I mean, yeah, he could be trying to incite something. That is a point, but I mean, he could also be sincere, and that's what he'd like to see, because he does have a point. If this technology is harmful to our health, why should it exist? So
it is harmful. I've worked in the field. I got to have some pretty decent knowledge about it, and everybody's just staring into their dark screen. Hey man, can I play you a few scratches? I'm testing out my new mixer. I want to see if you want to hear
them. As long as it's your own stuff and it doesn't give me a copyright strike.
Yeah.
Okay.
No sir. I want to ask you, and shout out to the callers. This is DJ Andrew Blocky. Why are we afraid of revolution? Do you hear it?
I hear it, man. Appreciate it. And yeah, it's a great question. Why are we afraid of revolution?
Yeah. Dude, I really love your show. I look forward to it every night of the week. And I hope to send you some more music soon.
All right. I look forward to it, friend. You have a good night. Take care.
All right.
All right. See you. All right. New York City.
Hey, Zach, what's going on?
What's going on, man? Good to hear your voice.
All right. I really don't got too much. But, I think that was Monday or Tuesday, but the Paris Climate Agreement, and the U.S. was the only country that pulled out the agreement. And guess how many countries are in the agreement besides the United States?
33.
188.
Oh, 188. Bavarian Illuminati, yeah?
188.
Okay, there you go.
How many countries in the Paris state except for the U.S.?
Bavarian Illuminati.
That's about 188.
That's the Bavarian Illuminati number.
Bavarian.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And I know the video you did about the Mexico, I like how you connected it with the black cat, the nine people killed or whatever.
Right.
And it's like you said. What is something about the Mormons, and what is the history with the Mormons in Mexico? When these stories come up, you got to go back in history. What's the connection with the Mormons and Mexico? You know any connection with the Mormons and Mexico in history that we don't know about?
Well, all I could say is, I mean, they eventually found their success in Utah, which isn't too far from Mexico, but I'm just thinking of the letter M as well. There's probably something greater there that I'm not aware of. I learned that one of the families involved in this supposed massacre is the LeBaron family, and they have a story from 2009 where a LeBaron was killed in Mexico as well. So I'm gonna have to do more research on that. I don't have a good answer right now.
Okay, going back to this is sports questions. You remember the start of the NFL season, and they had the year of the black quarterback.
Right.
And we just wonder, why would they say the year of the black quarterback? Why did they just say the year of the young quarterback? And who was on the cover? Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
And I was thinking about it. If Houston make the playoffs and the Colts make the playoffs, and Baltimore and Kansas City, all four of them got black quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
That's four right there.
Let's
say if Dallas luck up and make the playoffs, that's another black quarterback. And then the last one is you got to count the Saints because Teddy Bridgewater started some games too, so you got to count him too. Mm-hmm. Then you got to count Russell Wilson. So the reason why they did that article, you think it is the black quarterback versus Tom Brady to stop him getting his second championship? That's how I see it.
I hope it's not Tom Brady again, but because
I'm
because
just saying the way they said it. Yeah.
well,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I mean, I've been thinking about that all year too. ESPN usually gives clues. They called this the year of the black quarterback before the season began. And you're right. The picture was Lamar Jackson of the Baltimore Ravens and Patrick Mahomes in that story. And it's had me thinking about a theme that we talked about last year, the War of 1812 and the Battle of New Orleans. And that connects Baltimore and New Orleans. So, yeah, I got to keep doing some research on it. But I do imagine there's going to be at least one black quarterback in the Super Bowl. And I'm wondering if maybe two, because that's never happened before. So, Caller? Something must have happened there. I know he didn't mean to hang up. Caller, hold on. Why do I not hear him? He's on right now and he's talking, but I cannot hear him. Caller, for some reason I cannot hear you right now. Did you mute your phone? All right, hold on. I'm going to come back to you, man. I'm going to put it on mute and see if I can figure out what's going on again. It shows that I am still connected to the call board, so I should be able to hear him. New York, I'm going to come back to you. Don't hang up. I'm going to come back. Hold on. Something weird is going on. I'm getting some graphic that I never seen before on the call board. What is that about? Okay, now it disconnected me. All right, let's try this again. Some nights are glitchier than others. Apologies. All right. I think we're fixed. All right, let me go back to New York and see if I can hear him now. New York?
Oh, you can hear me?
Yeah, we're back. Okay, good. Yeah, you're on.
You go finish making your point.
No, I made my point. So back to you.
I didn't hear your point because you got cut off once you started making your point about.
Oh, I was just saying that I think this year, because ESPN called it the year of the black quarterback before the season began, I was saying I think we'll see at least one black quarterback in the Super Bowl, possibly two, because that's never happened before. So, and again, let's not forget that this year in August, it became the prophecy of 400 years since slaves arrived in the foreign land. And then ESPN shortly after that ran that story about the year of the black quarterback. I mean, that was just like a week after that happened. So I'm wondering, could it be that there would be two black quarterbacks this year in the Super Bowl?
If I had to pick one, it's kind of hard to pick because I can see Baltimore, I can see Kansas City, I can see the Colts, and maybe Houston. So it's kind of hard to pick one of those coming out the AFC. So they kind of made it hard for us this year. You look at it.
Sure. And again, going back to that War of 1812 theme that we followed last year, we were on that before the season began, and then the first score was 1812. That connects Baltimore and New Orleans. So those could be cities.
Yeah, I was about to say that exact. My first choice would be Baltimore Saints or Kansas City Saints.
Mm-hmm.
To go from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I just want to bring up that point about the black quarterback when ESPN did that. So that's the reason why they did that to start the season.
Sure. And, the caller earlier who pointed out the thing about Popeye's chicken and maybe that being a football riddle, talk about a stereotype for black people. So I'm going to have to look more at that story. And again, finding out that they're headquartered in Louisiana. So I'm going to have to look at that.
All right, Zach.
All right. Appreciate it, man. You have a good night.
All right, you too.
Yeah. NFL is very tricky this year, way harder than last year. Let's go out to Texas. Texas?
Peace, Zach. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you for calling.
Okay, I'm new to your work, and I just want to say thank you so much for what you're doing and for waking people up. I have a inquiry about the Rodney Reed story.
Okay, you're welcome, and I'm listening.
Are you familiar with that?
I'm not, so I am listening.
Okay, Rodney Reed is a guy that's on death row in Texas, and all of a sudden it's blowing up all over the internet today. Celebrities are coming out. It was a story on Dr. Phil about it. Has been on death row since '98, I think it is, for killing a white lady, Stacey Stites. And so the numbers, I did just a basic, simple English gematria on it. It was 678. And it caught me to Kobe Bryant, who was in the news a lot recently, and then Election Day. And so I just want to see if you can give your thoughts on it, or maybe talk about it a little bit, or even consider doing a video on it. His date is set for November 20th, and it's a huge petition out to stop him from going to be executed.
Okay, I'm looking it up real quick. I'm just looking in real time. So death row equals 41. And the day he's supposed to be executed, November 20th, leaves 41 days left in the year. So that's the first thing that's curious. And then just running his name gematria, Rodney Reed, there's a few things that stand out. With the alphabetic order, it sums to 113, which is a number of mainstream deception. But then in the most pure cipher, his name sums to 59, which is this number stamped all over Black history. The words Negro, slave, blues, Rasta, and more sum to 59. The word kill in Jewish gematria also sums to 59, and he's on death row. I'll just leave it there for right now. I need to do more research on this, figure out what his birthday is, and learn more about his story and what he's accused of. But just right away that this is viral today, and then he's on death row, and then the execution date syncs up with death row. It does look, it looks very interesting. The word mainstream equals 113, like Rodney Reed, and mainstream, the small way, sums to 41, also like death row. So I will take a look at this, and I appreciate you bringing it to my attention. There's been a number of stories over the years that I have done on people who are set for execution that make the headlines, and there's usually quite a theme to it. So I'll have to go back and look at my older work and look more at this man's story, but thank you.
Thank you for taking my call. Have a good day.
All right, you're welcome. You have a good night. Okay. Always appreciate when we get a first-time caller. Hopefully she calls us back, but I hadn't even heard about that story before today, so might be getting more traction in Texas than other parts. Rodney Reed. All right, let's go out to Virginia. Hold on, let me try that again. I don't think that worked. Let's try it one more time. All right, Virginia. Thanks for calling.
Hi, Doc.
Hello.
Hi, it's Jesse from chat.
Oh.
Hi, how are you?
Very nice. Very nice. I'm doing well. How are you?
That's good. It's Jesse from chat. I was doing some decoding the other day on Nat Turner, and I wanted to just tell you a little bit about what I found out as far as decoding.
Please.
Okay. Well, I have a family. He's like family to me. He actually owns the land where Nat Turner had his slave rebellion. Mm-hmm. And we go there every year. We're actually going there, me and my mother, this week on the 11th, which is the day that he was hung. So when I did the numerology of the date that he started the slave rebellion, was by Nat Turner's slave rebellion, August 21st, 1831. The numerology is 42, which stands for all Black people. And he was executed. Execution equals 44, like kill, and 46, like sacrifice. Execution by hanging is 95, which is almost like the reverse of 59, like slave, as you were saying earlier. Mm-hmm. And it also has 85 in it, like your Freemasonry. When you put in Nat, N-A-T, it equals to 46, like sacrifice. Beheaded is 34 and 38, like murder. And another thing that was really crazy, because I wrote so much stuff down, I don't want to take up the whole call. He was killed in Jerusalem, Virginia. It's actually a city in Southampton County, but it was renamed Portland years ago. Jerusalem, just like Jesus, that comes up to, like Freemasonry, that comes up to 58 and 139. Portland comes up to 131 and 41, and he was 31 when he passed. I also did I'm sorry, I wrote so many things down here. His name, Nat Turner, is 131, like Portland, Virginia. Without spelling Virginia, just putting VA. That's 131 and 41, like Nat Turner. Nathaniel is 39 and 159, like Freemasonry. Hanging is 42, like the N-word is 42. Nat Turner's Slave Rebellion is 301 and 103, which is like 31. The highway that we take to Southampton County is Route 58, which I thought was really crazy. And 41 is the 13th prime number. 42, you have your 34, or your 43, excuse me, 74 and 38, like killing. Portland is on the 36 and has coordinates of 36 and 77. And 59 is the 17th prime number, like kill. Southampton County equals to 71, and Route 58, when I put that in and I don't spell out the numbers, that comes up to 38 and 42. And from August 21st, the day that he started the Slave Rebellion, 1831 to August 21st, 2019 is 188 years, or 17 when you add it up, like kill. They call him Prophet Turner, and that comes up to 77. Like in your book, it says Christ is 77. His great-great-great-grandson, who I actually met, his name is Alvin Turner. Alvin equals 77. His wife, her name, Nat Turner's wife's name is Cherry Turner. Cherry equals 77. Cherry Turner equals 74, like kill. Cherry is also equal to 41, like in your book, Son of God equals 41, Christ equals 41, King 41, crucified 41, and he was beheaded. He also has a son named Riddick, which I have not heard anything about. Riddick equals 58, and 131, just like 31 was his age. And that's pretty much all I have besides his slave owner is Benjamin Turner, and he has 88 in his name, like Trump, like Republican Party, as I read in your book. And I also heard someone say earlier about Anunnaki, and that's 31 and 131. So I thought that was really crazy. And also his son, Benjamin Turner's son, Samuel Turner, has the same gematria as Prophet Turner with 157 and 76, like Prophet Turner. And that's pretty much all I have. I'm actually going there on the 11th, so I'm gonna ask the guy that I know that owns the land. His name is Khalif Khalifa, and that equals up to 67 and 77, like the coordinates of Portland. So I just wanted to get my little feel about that, because I thought that was really weird, and I always heard things like he may not have existed. So it's just really crazy how these numbers add up.
Indeed. And I have an old blog post on when the movie came out, The Birth of a Nation, about Nat Turner. And I still remember that they reported the weekend that the movie came out that it had a disappointing box office and it only made $7.1 million, which was interesting because the film Birth of a Nation equals 71 and African American equals 71. And the day that he was put to death, November 11th, 1831, was a date with 71 numerology. And they released the film on October 7th, which can be written 7/10, so 710, so 71 again. And what I felt like they were doing with this, when they put this information out, is they were kind of like making it seem like, see, African American Black history is not that important. People don't even want to come out and really support it. So, yeah, if anyone wants to go back and look, those were the headlines, that the film only made $7.1 million the opening weekend. But great work, and very nice to hear your voice. And I always appreciate all your.
Thank you, Zach. You know.
Yeah, I was just saying, I always appreciate that you're very supportive in the chat. It's nice to read your comments, so thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've learned from you. You know, it's the greatest book ever. So I thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the compliment. So.
Oh, you're welcome. You have a good night, Zach.
You too. And call us back. Let us know how that trip goes. And if you get any questions answered, I'd love to hear about it. So thank you again.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I sure will. Definitely will. Thank you.
All right. You take care. Have a good night.
Okay. You too. Take care. Good night, Zach.
Thanks. Appreciate everyone on the East Coast who stays up for the show. Let's go out to Oklahoma.
I'm just listening, Zach.
Thank you for tuning in. You have a good night.
You too.
Thank you. All right, let's go out to Michigan. Michigan #1, you're up.
Bro, how come I always get sent to the back of the line for some technical difficulties?
I didn't mean to send you to the back of the line. I apologize for that. So I'm just trying to go down. I'm just trying to go down in order.
It happens. It's just bad luck, I guess.
I apologize. I'll pay attention. If I see you get disconnected again and come back later, I'll make a point to let you cut in line. So sorry for that.
Yeah. I'm just giving you a hard time. Hey, I wanted to talk about some of the stuff that Rambo was on.
Okay.
And all the Phoenix stuff that we've been seeing for, years now, and associated with the Phoenix family. You know, they were indoctrinated at an early age, those brothers, into a cult called the Children of God. Have you ever known about that?
I think I have heard about that, and it's been a minute since I looked at it, but I have heard that before.
So, in Greek mythology, the phoenix is the bird that is cyclically regenerated or born again, associated with the sun. It obtains new life by arising from the ashes of its predecessor. And it's sort of interesting to see the rise of Joaquin Phoenix after his brother, the more famous of the two. Right. One of the other callers mentioned that he was in the movie Stand By Me, and that was probably the movie that I knew him most from, and it's I think ironic, or maybe partially planned into his ritualistic death, that he plays a character who the main character is mourning the death of his brother, and he becomes sort of his adopted brother and their best friend. But then it's even said at the end of the film that he dies in a bar fight. So, there's some symbology there, seeing as how he died at the Viper Room.
Right.
And it is a bar.
Right.
Then we had this year, or last year, excuse me, the biggest bomb at the box office was X-Men Dark Phoenix. Right? You remember that?
I didn't know that.
And then, yeah, so that was, kind of a big controversy that, the X-Men films have been so popular and Marvel movies have been so popular, but then this movie was so bad. If you go back and look at the poster, the girl who plays the Phoenix character is the same girl that is Sansa Stark in the Game of Thrones series.
Okay.
Sophie Turner, and on the photo of or on the poster rather, her eye is lit up aflame, her right eye. It's like, the fire of the Phoenix is inside her. Well, if you remember, I believe it was earlier this year, or maybe it was last year in 2018, the first official images were released by NASA, the first official images.
Oh, sit tight, the music cut. Sit tight, we'll be right back after the break.
Truth Frequency Radio is your #1 source for news and information without the hate, hype, and fear. We're proud to feature cutting-edge programs like Beyond the Veil with Chris and Cherie Geo, Squared with Brooks Agnew, Paranormal Portal with Brent Thomas, Karanism Raw with Karen Atmisa, Clueless with Frank Castle.
Strange World with Mark Sargent.
The Eye of Ra with Rob Castaldo.
The Infinite Bridge with Billy Ray.
Ironworks with Josh Corey.
The Cam Baker Show. And dozens more.
Did you know you can listen from any telephone by dialing 641-793-7117?
Or call into your favorite show. Toll free at 833 TFR Live.
Uncensored talk and news you won't hear in the mainstream media. Truth Frequency Radio, your protection from deception.
Public hearings on tap. Trump targets Warren again. I'm Barbara Cusack. The impeachment inquiry of President Trump moves forward next week with its first public hearings. More from correspondent Linda Kenyon. It's official.
We will begin our open hearings in the impeachment inquiry next week.
House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff says 3 key witnesses will take part.
Beginning with the testimony of Ambassador Taylor and Ambassador Kent on Wednesday, and we will have Ambassador Yovanovitch testify on Friday.
Meanwhile, closed-door depositions are wrapping up this week.
Ahead of the Louisiana gubernatorial runoff later this month, President Trump rallied forces tonight for Republican businessman Eddie Risponi as he faces incumbent Democrat Governor John Bel Edwards. Trump also addressed the upcoming 2020 presidential campaign, again targeting Senator Elizabeth Warren and her ancestry.
Pocahontas is starting to emerge from the ashes. I thought she was gone. We hit her very hard 6 months ago. I give her credit. She's emerging from the ashes. Not a nice person. 1024th Indian blood. I have more than she does, and I have none.
Kentucky's Republican Governor Matt Bevin has yet to concede defeat to Democrat Andy Beshear following last night's election. Bevin requested a recanvass of votes that show he's trailing his opponent by several thousand votes. A massive chicken recall involves more than 2 million pounds because the poultry may be contaminated with pieces of metal. The U.S. Department of Agriculture said that Simmons Prepared Foods is recalling several of its ready-to-cook chicken products in several states that were sent to restaurants, schools, hospitals, and distributors, not stores. Despite protests about a war on the poor, Las Vegas officials passed a law today making it illegal to sleep on the streets when beds are available at established shelters. I'm Barbara Cusack.
This is Truth Frequency Radio.
The wicked one, obviously under heavy Masonic influence.
Condition orange. Condition orange. Situation Delta in effect. Please enter your agent number now, followed by the hash key.
We have to create culture. Don't watch TV. Don't read magazines. Don't even listen to NPR.
Time comes when silence is betrayal.
More for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them.
Think for yourself. Question third.
This code has been compromised.
All right, we're back, Truth Seeker. We got an hour left. We're taking your calls the rest of the way. Funny, caller was just talking about the phoenix that rises from the ashes. And then first thing over the commercial break, you hear Donald Trump talking about Elizabeth Warren rising from the ashes. And I'll remind people, Manly P. Hall, he wrote about the Order of the Quest, and the symbol of the Order of the Quest is the phoenix. And he says that the people who founded this nation, they called themselves the Order of the Quest. And that's what the roots of this nation are. And their goal was to create a perfect democratic society that was based in philosophy rather than religion. And I'd encourage anybody to look into that. Manly P. Hall, The Order of the Quest. Very interesting stuff. And sometimes when I read about those types of things, I wonder if it's true. If the founders really did have these great ideas and wanted a perfect, essentially, utopia. It's hard for me to believe it because, I mean, the nation began out of a genocide, and it began with the people who thought they were better than the people who were already here. And I don't know. I just don't see how a great people would slaughter an entire, land full of people who already lived here. So, and some people say, well, that's not really what happened. That's the false history too. But I don't know. I mean, up here in the Pacific Northwest, there's still compared to other places, there's still a native population. And it's clear that once upon a time, there were a different people here. So, and something did happen to them. But let's go back to the caller. He got interrupted by the break. And you're back on, friend.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting that Trump was talking about Elizabeth Warren rising from the ashes right after talking about the Phoenix.
Sure, indeed.
So, yeah, I think this symbology is heavily present in a lot of pop culture right now. I mean, you have the Harry Potter movie, The Order of the Phoenix, a few years ago. Or actually like 10 years ago. And then you had the X-Men movie this year. I think it also relates to the burning of the Notre Dame Cathedral. The Notre Dame means Our Lady in French, I believe. And, they're expecting that cathedral to be brought back from the ashes. Right. And there's a lot of other things. The point that I was making is NASA released the first official images of what a black hole looks like, and it looks like a ring of fire. It was a kind of a blurry picture of basically a fiery circle. I don't know if you saw that, Zach.
I have seen that image. I know I did a video on that when that came out. I forget how long ago it was, maybe a year ago, but I do recall what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think, it relates to this story. Like, even the sweatshirt that you're wearing as Chris Cornell, I think his death has something to do with this Phoenix thing, too, because, the shirt you're wearing has his face inside a ring of fire, right? And it's the Black Hole song.
Right, I think that's the person, right, right, yeah. The artist, I think that's what he was going for. So.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just interesting. I've done a little research on the Black Sun cult or order that the Nazis sort of brought about, that for every bit of sunshine, there's like an opposite energy, which has sort of been confirmed somewhat with the scientific community confirming the existence of dark energy or black energy or dark matter. It's interesting, but it's definitely out there. I think Rambo was really onto something with decoding it, and it may have something to do with the success of Joaquin Phoenix recently in this Joker film. The other thing that it really brings to mind is, the talk of the downfall of the United States dollar as the world currency.
Mm-hmm.
There's a magazine cover.
The Economist cover.
Usually online.
The Economist cover from 1988.
Exactly. And it has exactly from 1988. It has the Phoenix rising from the ashes, and the ashes are burning dollar bills.
Right.
And we know that it said that China is going to release a new digital currency soon that could rival the dollar. There's even some rumors that they're going to back it with gold so that it has more confidence for people around the world, because, as you know, the dollar's not backed by anything really. So, and perhaps Trump saying that Elizabeth Warren is rising from the ashes. Elizabeth Warren doesn't look too far different from Hillary. So although Hillary lost, this woman could, essentially be the new Hillary and rise from her ashes.
Right. It is interesting. I mean,
yeah, those were just some of the just some of the connections I made while listening to Rambo do some of that encoding for the Super Bowl. You know, with the black cat ritual, I kind of thought, you know, in relationship to the year of the black quarterback, you know, who is the most popular black superhero? The Black Panther, the Black Cat.
And in light of that, again, the Black Panther Party was started by Huey P. Newton, and you have Cam Newton, who plays for the team with the Black Panther, and he's the black quarterback that seems to be getting shamed this year, while many others are having success. So no doubt there's a ritual there as well.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hey, man, I love the show. I'll definitely call back again.
All right, I look forward to it.
So,
all right,
I appreciate it.
Yeah, have a good night. Take care. All righty. So next Michigan caller. We had 3 Michigan callers in a row. I see one got off. That's too bad. But the one who stayed with us, you're on, Michigan.
Hey, good evening, Zach. How you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. So last week, I'm pretty sure I was on and got booted when you asked about Brooks Agnew being a Mason. I was on listening to some show and Chris Geo, and I think it was Lucky's show, and Chris was a guest on the show with, you know, and Brooks was the co-host, and they were talking about, you know, Chris was talking about how he found out that Brooks was a Mason, and they talked about that. So, you know, admittedly, Brooks says he's a Mason. And one day I was listening to Brooks's show, and he said, and by the way, I helped invent the smart meter, so just shut up about it.
Yeah, one time, because he does this commercial. For people out there, he's the guy who has the commercial about charm of favor and the free men. And at one time I was listening to a show too, and he said how in 96, Freemason equals 96, he sold some technology to NASA that allowed him to complete their Mars rover mission or something like that. And I was like, I think he's well aware of this gematria language. He doesn't care for me. I've asked him to come on my show. He says he never would, but yeah, I think he is a Mason, and it sounds like you just confirmed it. So yeah, very interesting.
And I do remember one day I called. Lucky had mentioned something about because she's a veteran, and I called the show about something, and then you called right after me, and you called her out on what she was talking about, like how military people are tough guys and, you know, something or other. I can't remember exactly what it was, but you called them out for, you know, kind of being, you know, frauds about the news and what they were reporting and not really promoting, you know, gematria and all the, you know, just all of it. And yeah, I kind of get that Brooks doesn't care for you because, well, most people don't like to be called out for who they really are if they're not, you know, representing that, right?
Sure.
But no, it was great. And I heard you say earlier that your ears have been ringing since 2006.
Yep.
And I know you talk about you have lower back pain. You know, I talked to you about that the last time I was on, and I said I could help you with that. And I really can. I've been training under a doctor who treats.
Sorry, not to interrupt you. I believe that my back has been fine ever since I started standing more, because just like how I'm standing now, I do a lot of my work in the day just standing here. The whole back problem was just because I was sitting way too much in the chair, and when I sit in the chair, my posture is not so good. But just ever since I've gotten this thing and I've been standing, my back's been fine. So I'm not in the chair for 12 hours a day like I was. But I do appreciate that, and if it persists, I definitely will get in contact with you. So I appreciate that very much.
Well, the ringing in the ears is kind of connected to that. It's the same issue, for back pain. There's 147 diseases that people can get from a calcium deficiency, and all calcium is not created equal. And you can't just take calcium, you got to take 89 other essential nutrients as cofactors to go with it. There's 90 essential nutrients that the body needs. Every vertebrate in the world needs 90 essential nutrients for, to their body weight. So anyway, I did have something else I wanted to touch on. Oh, the Phoenix thing. I listen to this guy, Jeff Bennett, on RBN on Tuesdays and Thursdays. He's a coin and, gold and silver guy. Been in the business for, he's been on the air for, I think, about 25 years now. And he lives in Phoenix. He went to the bank yesterday to put $100, $5 $20 bills in his granddaughter's business at this bank for over 20 years. He walks in the bank. He wants to deposit cash, and they tell him, "I'm sorry, Mr. Bennett, you can't deposit cash in the bank here. You have to buy a money order for 50 cents and then deposit the money order." He said, "Are you serious? What the hell are you talking about? I've been banking here for over 25 years. Everybody in this bank knows who I am. You're telling me I can't deposit cash in a bank?" And they're saying, "That's right, sir. You have to buy a money order and deposit that." He says, "Why can't I just give you 50 cents and then you can deposit my cash in my bank account?" "No, sir, it doesn't work that way. I'm sorry. We just can't take cash in a bank."
Amazing.
So I don't know what the gematria of that is, and if Phoenix has anything to do with it, but I thought that was kind of weird that all that Phoenix stuff was coming up, and I heard that this morning listening to his replay of his show yesterday.
Yeah, well, it's just a reminder of just how they're trying to phase out cash and make cash so inconvenient. And banks are just so gimmicky, always trying to generate new fees and revenue. But yeah, that's something else. So I'm sure a lot of us are going to start running into things like that with the banks as time goes on. Do you know what bank that was?
He didn't say the bank, but I'll tell you what, next week I'll email him and find out, and I'll call you back next week and let you know.
Oh, okay. And I have one more question for you. Are you the same gentleman who called in last week and said they were blind and having trouble finding my channel?
Well, I am one of the blind guys that calls you, but I just listen by phone. I don't surf the net. I can't navigate a computer anymore.
Okay, it was another caller. Then I told him I was going to change my YouTube channel to Gematria Effect News so he could find it, and I did do that, but it's not changing. It still says Zachary K. Hubbard, so I don't know what to do about that. So I thought maybe you were the same gentleman.
Your YouTube is that's your YouTube, Zachary K. Hubbard now?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
Okay. Sometimes people send me links. I got a flip phone that I can get on YouTube with, but they send me a link and I can click on it and it'll take me to a YouTube that I can listen to. So I'll tell my buddy and have him send me that so I can check it out.
Okay, very cool.
But I appreciate you. Keep up the good work.
Will do.
And we'll talk to you next week.
All right, you have a good one. Thank you.
You too.
All right, take care. Okie dokie. Next up, Hawaii. How are you, Hawaii?
Yo.
Yo.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Hello. All right. Cool. Awesome. I just wanted to say thank you for all the work that you're doing.
You're very welcome. I appreciate it.
Yeah, my name is Spencer. I'm from Hawaii. yeah, I mean, it's all super alarming. I'm sure everyone who's listening has done their names, and that sort of just plays a key role. But then, yeah, like my heart's going even. I didn't know it was gonna get cold playing an MMORPG.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm really thankful for this that's going on. I mean, I've delved a lot into lots of these things, and that's why I've been watching your channel since a couple of years ago already. And I mean, I've battled with drug addictions and, well, more alcoholism, but I'm clean and sober, been sober for 8 months now. And it's just really amazing how everything is connected in that sense, and how, like, you're basically, we can cipher God, but then these people are also doing that to basically mock God, like how you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just really grateful that you're out there and actually sticking your neck out, man, because it's gnarly what these people will go and do to stop people who voice and do what you're doing. So
Yeah,
really.
this is true. So.
But yeah, man, thank you, Zach. I'm not sure how much time we have to talk.
We got time. What else is on your mind?
Well, just man, it's so much, you know what I mean? I'm doing a lot of light work, and let's just say I believe I've been being like watched, chosen. I'm not sure what it is, but there's lots of things that don't like me that I'm sober now, and it's amazing how everything corroborates and correlates, how everything is linked and connected, especially for the evil side, or the dark side of all of these workings. And just to all I can really do is try and familiarize myself, my name, my birthday, all of that, like I'm a 31-4. But to like what's going on around me in my life, because everyone's affected differently, right? It's like philosophy, like you can spend the whole semester just looking at a chair, and so the person next to you sees a different chair than the one that we're seeing.
Sure.
Or that you're seeing, opposed to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe it applies for everyone in that sense. Like there's multiple applications for every set of numbers, and there's a good, a light side, and there's the bad, the dark side to each one's as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just me trying to be aware and more promote that the better side of that, because it's like frequencies, everything. It's all math.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't even know what to say to not go too deep into this. There's some things that I'll never say, especially on these broadcasts. But I'm really stoked to just talk to you personally, actually, and to let you know that you're really doing an amazing thing in these times. I have a son, and like how you're saying, well, things with the ears and stuff, that's actually depending on the left and right who's talking bad or poorly about you is usually in the left, and when it rings in the right, people are saying good things. But I have a son, and don't lose hope of that side, because I believe that life really does change even more so. Like you'll become more impassioned and empowered about things. Not saying like become a father or what your whole personal thing is, but just God has a mysterious way of working. So sometimes that will also help someone turn the spark or the candlelight into a full blazing inferno.
Indeed.
But anyway, I'm gonna let you go. I'm done talking to you off, and I'm gonna listen to everyone else. Thank you for what you're doing, man.
All right, friend. Appreciate your call.
I'll let you.
Yeah, good to hear from you. Call us again. You have a good day. All right, take care.
Yes, sir.
Right. Hawaii. It's probably still daylight there. At this time of year, living up north, man, I hate when we do the fall back thing, because up here, upper half of Washington State, I mean, it's almost dark by 4 o'clock this time of year, and it's just going to get worse and worse until we get to the, winter solstice, darker each day. But it feels like you should be in bed. It's like 4:30 right now. If you look outside, it seems like, it's been dark for hours already. So Stays nice and bright in the summer, but this time of year, there's just not enough daylight. All right, let's go out to, well, I know Texas is just listening. Let me double check to make sure Texas is just listening. Texas, you just listening?
Yeah, but now I have a comment. Your call board, your phone call board refreshed 3 times, and that's how you lost callers.
I'm not sure why it does that sometimes.
Yeah, it was kind of weird because I was listening to it, and then I heard another guy says hello, hello, hello. So I thought it was on my end because I'm calling you through Google Voice, and I thought it was them.
Mm-hmm.
And it just really really messed up. But one comment though, you had a guy talking about Tesla and Trump, his uncle, and Tesla did not invent phased array antenna. Okay, he has the fundamental patent for wireless technology, and that's patent 645576. Okay. I know that because 6455 is my birthday.
Okay.
And
perfect.
76 is the 76 is the 76th day of the year, which equates to my mom's birthday. So it's kind of weird.
Amazing.
I have a kind of special relationship with Tesla because I grew up in a telecommunications family, so I know this stuff. Trump's uncle reviewed a lot of Tesla's technology. Under what capacity is under a lot of shadow because all his papers and his works were secreted into what was called at the War Department, which became the Pentagon, the Office of Alien Custodial Properties. Okay. So any technology that was derived from henceforward going out of that was called alien technology. Okay. That's where it came from. Just a little history on that. And that's well documented.
Very
and most of this stuff was secreted to Los Alamos, New Mexico. Los Alamos National Laboratories. So there was a big spy scandal there in the early 2000s with a Chinese employee who was accused of aiding and abetting a foreign power and acquiring nuclear technology from it, but it wasn't nuclear technology, it was Tesla technology. So just a little background on that.
Good information. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, man. Good show as usual.
Thank you. All right. Have a good night, friend.
All right. Take care.
Yeah, take care. All righty. We got 1 minute till the break. Coming up is Georgia, California, and Pennsylvania. And then there's nobody else on hold. So if you do want to call in, not a bad time. You don't have to wait too long in line. We got 30 minutes of show left. I'll be sure to get to, I imagine we'll cover at least 5 or 6 callers after the break. 3 are in line right now. If you do want to call in, 213-233-3998. Again, 213-233-3998. About Tesla, when I lived in Seattle, my friend, he moved to this apartment. If you're familiar with Seattle, off Aurora, North Seattle, and there's a little power station up there. And the first time I went over to his place, I noticed by the power station, they'd cut the vegetation, the shrubs. They'd cut this design. It was Tesla's face, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, they're paying tribute to Tesla with the shrubs. I mean, it was awesome the way they did it. You could clearly see it was his face. We'll be right back, all right? The music's coming on. We'll be taking your calls.
If you're not familiar with ILI, it's a 99% pure CBD oil. But the secret is the synergy between the hemp and the ayahuasca vine, the non-psychoactive component of the ayahuasca tea. We recently received an email from a wife whose husband has Parkinson's. For the first time, he's been able to sleep through the entire night. Another customer reported that they're no longer using NSAIDs because their tennis elbow has been relieved with iLife. The reports have been phenomenal and much more than we ever expected. Everyone should have access to this. That's why if you head on over to iLife.com right now and use coupon code TFR, we'll give you $5 towards your order. And we'll even ship it worldwide. That's iLife.com, AYA life.com.
Your home has needs. It needs a healthy, dry environment all year round. Start by getting rid of the worst air in the basement and crawl space, where the problems begin and make the whole house sick. Introducing the new Smart Wave Ventilation Unit. It has advanced technologies to continuously reduce moisture, mold, and odors, and expel radon, gases, and pollutants. And now, Wave units include carbon monoxide detection to automatically expel air at a high rate and send you an alert. It also has an app so you can remotely monitor the conditions. Wave is a comprehensive, maintenance-free, affordable solution that will transform your entire home. Protect your home and family with what it needs. Give it a new Smart Wave Ventilation Unit. For more information, call 888-717-WAVE. That's 888-717-WAVE. Or go to dryhealthyhome.com. That's dryhealthyhome.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
Here's the modular. Here's the little desk. This is Uncle Walt from the Ironworks. Josh, Corey, and I have chosen to look at life with no fear. No fear of the unknown. No fear of questions about the supposedly well-known. No fear of ridicule for thinking outside the familiar fool's lines. No fear of the boot on the neck of those refusing the party line. No fear of taking on those so convinced of their beliefs they would sooner drink the Kool-Aid than believe they've been fools made. In this world filled with millions of callous ink, the tree's protected layers be peeled back to show the tender juice of ink. Are we all just grist for the mill? Sold against our will, or is that just how it feels? When you're filled to the brim, triviality is so fear-filled to the brim, break clear of the fear, right here. Tuesdays and Fridays at 2 a.m. on TFR. Josh and I and you will hammer out the impurities of technology-driven truth things, fold in a dash of logic, and quench it all with a bit of absurd. The Ironworks. Break fear of the fear.
Real people, real radio.
Initiating the truth frequency.
This is Truth Frequency Radio.
All right, we're back, Truth Seeker. We're taking your calls the rest of the way. We got 30 minutes left. Got a text message. Got a new friend here in Yakima. Shout out to Henry. It's funny. He had the Gematria hotline number, like the number I put out there, the 509 number, and got a text message one day, and somebody said, "Hey, do you work out at the Planet Fitness in the town we live in?" And I was like, "I sure do." He's like, "I thought so. I seen you there a couple times, man, but I didn't want to come up to you in case it wasn't you." But Henry and I, we've been hanging out when I do have a free minute here and there, and we actually went out and saw the movie Joker together for research purposes, just to see what was all in that film. So he texted me over the break. He said, "Hey, I heard you talking about Prometheus. Let's check out that movie." But anyway, it's nice to meet a new person. Henry's a very cool, very friendly individual, fun person to be around. And this website that's being built that's meant to help people organize and link up, I hope it brings about a lot of new connections like that, because just in the time I've moved to this small town, I've met him, and I met a husband and wife. And if that husband and wife's out there, apologies if you guys have texted me or called me and I haven't gotten back to you. The mistake I made with them when I met with them is I didn't save their number in my phone, and I get so many texts and calls. I mean, it just happened to be one time I picked up and they said, "Hey, heard you're living in this area. We'd like to meet up for a meal. And anyway, it's a pretty small town here. And just in this small town, already met 3 people from here. And I'm sure that once this website is built, it'll help a lot of people find people that are right around them who are like-minded, looking for fellow truth seekers. And again, doing this, being the truth seeker type of person, it can be lonely. It can be isolating. You can lose friends, family, but at the same time, you can definitely make new ones. So that website is coming. I was hoping that it was going to be done and I was going to be able to announce it this week's radio show. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed it'll be next week's. It can't be too much further off though. So, and the beta testing is going just fine. I know a lot of people have asked to do the beta testing, and I think right now they have a large enough group on there for what they want. But as soon as it goes live, I'll be sure to get everybody the information where they can sign up, and they just got to do a few more tweaks. And something I asked them to get on there is what I'm calling an action center, where like each day there'll be something that everybody can do from the comfort of their seat to help promote the message and get the awareness out there of this knowledge and what's going on in the world. Essentially an organized, simple to do activity for the community. And of course it'll be optional. It's not like you're going to have to do it, but anyway, it is coming soon and really looking forward to that. And with that said, let's go out to Georgia. Georgia, you're on.
Hey, Zach, nice to talk to you again, brother.
Thanks for calling back.
Few things. I noticed you had made a post recently about Harriet Tubman and how they kind of linked that to derogatory N-word in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I noticed there, near where I live, we have a Tubman Museum, and I was online looking and just noticed a few coincidences where on the ticket, almost as like a security measure, I guess, in a holograph form, the number 42 was on the ticket, and the tickets were $60 a piece.
Huh.
And I just thought that, you know, with the gematria 60 and 42, but we also spoke about the Joker movie. Joaquin Phoenix and Julia Roberts share a birthday, 10/28/1974. And there's a connection between them also with this guy named Shea Wiggum. And he worked on the Joker, and he also is working with Julia Roberts on this movie called Mr. Robot. Mr. Robot has a gematria of 101, 38, 88, and 43. The Joker has a gematria of 92, 38, 124, and 43. So they match in full reduction and reverse full reduction. Which I thought was kind of interesting in that.
Indeed, yeah.
And also, just wanted to kind of also say that in regards to the 5G wireless conversation from earlier, they have put the safe levels for these meters that they're putting out in the, I want to say it's in the thousands, where the closest country or continent, not continent, country or government ranks theirs in the tenths of millions as far as safe levels. We do not do that, so that if you would ever bring a health concern to them, they would say that they were still within their safe range of operating because it is set so high. And you got Elon Musk saying that it's going to serve as a universal plug for AI. You know, you can just kind of see where this thing's going, really, man. And it's real important that we get the word out. And you know, I can't wait for the website, but you know, I feel like even speaking out, you know, a lot of people don't even want to hear it.
Of course.
You know, I try to talk to so many people, and it's frustrating. But you know, really look forward to this each week because outside me and really close family members, you know, nobody really wants to hear it.
Yeah, yeah.
Man, if it didn't ruin football, if it didn't ruin football for me, it didn't do anything else. But appreciate you every week, man, and big shout out to the truth community.
All right, appreciate it, friend. You have a good night. Thanks for the call.
Yes.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Yeah, it really, I mean, it's the worst part about this, that it can be so isolating, and it's also frustrating because you're like, why am I being demonized by everybody I know for pointing out things that, I mean, are right in front of everybody's face? It's just, cognitive dissonance is a real thing, and it's easier to not accept the truth for a lot of people, and it's obvious it's just part of the human condition, unfortunately. And I think it can change, though. I think it can definitely change, because I mean, the other thing is cultural programming is real, and when you pay attention, I mean, if you go to the news, somebody's talking negatively about conspiracy theorists, and then you turn on a sitcom and there's some joke about the conspiracy theorist person, and then you go to the movie and there's some slide comment about the conspiracy type of people. I mean, it's really everywhere when you start to pay attention. And you realize all of that is the cultural programming, and everybody learns to believe that, like, if you believe in conspiracies, you're kind of like a joke, or a person not to be taken seriously. And that cultural programming has to be broken. So it's got people hypnotized. Let's go out to California. Until next. California?
And
oh, there we go.
Yeah, what up?
What's up, man?
Brother Crackhead Paul. What up?
How'd you get that nickname? How'd you get the nickname Crackhead Paul?
Because every time I call in, everybody's like, he's on drugs and blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
Which I ain't. Yeah, one time I had a couple beers, whatever. But, hey, you got that other cell phone handy that, you take your calls on?
I do. It's right here.
Sometimes.
I got it.
You do? All right, check this out. Hold on. Oh, my phone's glitching, so I can't do it. Well, wait. Here we go. Messages. Damn it, dude. Contact Zach. I just wanted to send the text to you that already sent. All right, chill. There, it's coming through. So anyways, like I said, that's me. If you scroll up the past messages, that's me. The one that sent you that pic with the suicide prevention tattoo and shit. Hoping for that link for the website, but it's all good. I guess we'll be able to use that here soon. I own a .org. I want to try to get up and running. Just sucks. I don't even know the laptop, but I want to try to get Scub Rats and Starbucks backwards. Kind of came up with that some years back. ScubRats.org. So we'll see. Hopefully we can start getting that going or something. But definitely going to link your site to mine and whatever else, this, that. But it's like, just, hoping that, I'm sure there's, I make $15 an hour. Brother's starting to do some investing, hoping to do something that just, because it just sucks. Broke all the time and like can't do the things that I want to do where my heart is calling, to, I want to do shit like help with the homeless or this or that, find missing people. Like that's one thing. It's just like, it sucks. We're coming up on the end of this year and here we go, 2020. And it's like, it would just be really cool. I mean, I don't know what your website's going to be like or whatever, but have you heard of Periscope by chance?
Periscope. Why does that sound so familiar? What is it?
It's one of those apps. It just has like a gazillion live video. People just like live video. And then people can connect to it or whatever. And I don't know if they have like video, but I don't know if you plan on doing anything like that. But like that's something I would definitely want to do on my site. Is just like multi. Just the best kind of networking you can do, like, video conferencing almost as much as we can, just to like get a bit better interface 24/7. I mean, that's cool what you're gonna have going, but it's like whatever. We need to be able to have that 24/7 constant whatever. But Cause yeah, like, just one thing, it's just like, I was talking to some people, one of the guys I was just working with, cause I was actually, we were sitting around and, after work and I actually got, this is a different group of cats, and got them to listen, to your show for a bit, and it was cool, and I'm always getting shit, whatever, but it's like, I started bringing up one thing, is like, freaking, there's all the, like, kidnappings and this, that, and stuff, and one of the guys like, yeah, actually, my cousin was kidnapped when she was a teen or whatever, and I was talking like, yeah, there's nothing funny about that, is there? It's like, no, absolutely not, it's horrific and stuff, and so it's just like, we right now are, well, at least us, mostly, they're on the show right now, we're fairly comfortable, wherever we're at, home, car. But we know that there's people out there right now in tormented state, and it's just, that's the kind of shit that irks me constantly. Having that stuff to help out with that kind of stuff and not be in a position to do it. So that's just something that I'm hoping, like, it would be really cool, I really think, it'd be really sweet to get something up and running by like January 1st and just like, I want to do something where it's just docking every day, boom, January 1st. But I mean, I guess not everybody in the world starts on the 1st, right? What's the Jewish, didn't they just have their new year?
They did, yeah.
There's like,
before.
so it's like not all, but I mean, for the most part, we're, January 1st. But, I mean, it'd be sad to think about, like, if we could have, I don't know, if people can go back to public records, like for each city or whatever, see who's missing, in LA or Chicago or this or that. How many people have gone missing in just in 2019? And it's probably like just ridiculous. And it's like, that would suck and be so sad that we're not doing anything to actually, getting shit done, combating this, for 2020, another year. And then 2021, you know what I mean? So it's just like, I don't know. I'm really looking forward to your deal, and I want to get my own thing going too, and just network with everybody. And yeah, it's just gonna be awesome to see what God does with everything. And it'd be cool to see just how we can. I don't know, like you said, you do Patreon, $1, this, that. I do your $1 right now. I was doing the 11 for a minute, but it's just like if we could actually see, the amount of money right there, it's like, boom, there's this much, and watch, and like as a community, be able to say, well, let's put it towards this or that, or does somebody have great investment ideas and let's grow it and actually, put it towards and see what we're actually can do to help or anything like that. But
indeed.
Anyways, man, just wanted to say what up.
All right, man. And I'll give you a tip.
Brother.
If you want to work with the homeless, maybe look into working for a homeless shelter. If you make $15 an hour, I imagine working at a homeless shelter pays around the same thing. So, I worked at a group home and a teen homeless shelter, and it paid right around there. So thought.
Yeah, and I mean that is awesome. Yeah, and I very well may. Yeah, but it's just like the problem of it is just so huge. It's just like, even if I were to just work in one, it's like there's so much more that can be done, especially through the collective, to help combat it.
Indeed. Yeah, you're 100% right.
Scale, so.
All right, Paul. I appreciate it, man. You have a good night.
All right.
You too, brother. Take care. Yeah, even this small town I live in, there's a lot of homeless people here, and I always think it'd be cool to create like a giant community where people could live and have shelter and create their own agriculture. So these homeless people, they wouldn't have to be out begging for food, and they'd have a community and a safe place to sleep. Homeless community, though, I mean, it is a lot of them do have mental illness and drug problems and violent tendencies. When I worked at the teen homeless shelter, I thought I was going to die one day, actually, because when you come in the shelter, you have to make sure they don't bring any weapons in. And one time there was this kid, he was a juggalo. Juggalos, the insane clown posse followers, and they carry around hatchets. And I told him to come in, he's going to have to hand over the hatchet. And at the time I was in my early 20s and he was 16, but man, if you saw him and I next to each other, you would have thought he was a lot older than me, and he was a lot bigger than me too. And he put that hatchet up like he was going to strike me with it. And anyway, I got him to chill out. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people in that community who they need some serious care, but they can be somewhat dangerous people too, unfortunately. So let's go out to Pennsylvania.
Hey, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, sorry about that. Hey, wanted to ask a quick question about the book there, if I could. You guys have a key available to that? Because I was poking around and I wasn't able to find one. I mean, I got a tablet, and I was trying to talk to my buddy about the weapon modification center that you said you had in there, and I wasn't able to locate it because like it's just so small, the tablet I got. But is there maybe a better way? Like, shade. I was thinking about just getting a paper copy, to be honest, because I'm also trying to outline this thing, and it's kind of difficult. Like,
sure.
After I downloaded your book, my tablet stopped charging on 33%. And then when I tried reading it, because I'd read files on it before, there were these weird lines going across it. And there was like this weird updating thing that took like 10 minutes to update after I bought your book. So a lot of weird stuff happening. And I don't know, it hurt some hands to read on it after I did that, but I still do. I just can't read as fast.
Okay, the chapter on weather modifications near the end, I think I forget exactly what chapter it is, around chapter 20. It's deep into the book. You can get the book printed.
Yeah, I didn't see page numbers on it.
Yeah, the second edition.
Who is that?
The second edition has page numbers. The first edition doesn't have page numbers. The reason I didn't put page numbers on it is because since it's an ebook, like most readers will just tell you what page number you're on automatically. But if you take the ebook file and you send it to lulu.com, they can turn it into a print book for about $30. And if you want to check out the YouTube channel, J is in John, H is in Hector, W is in Walter, 3D, JHW 3D. He has a tutorial for how to turn my book into an ebook and make it look really good with Lulu. So you might want to check that out.
Yeah, I was trying to encourage my one buddy. I mean, that way it's not like they know. I was like, just give me like $30 and I'll get you a paper copy. That way it's not like you got that tag on your hard drive at once. Because, they're going to be washing if they weren't before.
Right.
But, sorry, there was, could I, okay, so it's like, I was looking at the newscasters there, the Rachel Maddow. There's this weird thing I caught them doing. This, okay, so like you were talking about the guy, the Secret of All Ages guy's reduction thing he was talking about with Keyhole? Yeah. So like when you go full blown with like RM, like Rachel Maddow or like Messer, just sometimes it's abbreviation or what do they call it? Initial. So like it's a pattern that goes throughout. You'll have like your RM, Rachel Maddow will be 1331. I'm not sure what the significance of the 3-1 is, but like the 13 song, I don't know if that's like Luciferian inversion or what, but that pattern will go to like NQ, OE, LS, like St. Louis, KT is 431, JU is 431, but then when you get the IV, it comes back up to 1331. I catch him doing this in rocking multiples sometime, but yeah, go all the way up to EZ then. But it dropped back down when you get to 4, because if you're going to put the 2-6 in there, then you're already maxed out at 30. But there could be another thing in there if you split the alphabet. It's just something most been doing.
I'd have to take a look at it. That's interesting. So yeah, I'd have to take a look at it myself.
Yeah. It didn't really occur to me until I was looking at your, when you had next to each other on, or sorry, I should say the gematria when I was on his bit there. Yeah, and I punched him in and I was like, oh, that's weird, because I did miss her RM for like her, because that's the stuff my family watches. We don't necessarily see eye to eye on this stuff. So.
Sure, I know how that goes.
Yeah, definitely appreciate you guys doing this. Gives me something to, but then there was the NS, or what is that? Not safe for work, but the NS, 3, 3, 15, and then 6, and they all reduced to 6. So I'm not really sure if there's like, kind of feels like when you said like the guy put in like the one Jewish mantra or what, and then you do the reduction. It's like, wow, it's like opens a new door for me. Kind of felt like that when we started them together like that. So I don't know if maybe there's more subtext because you were also talking like they have the Lodge version and then like the Civvy version. So I'm like, yeah, maybe maybe you got to read between the lines, so to speak. Who knows? I mean, they seem to be speaking plain English, but it could be loaded.
Sure.
Jeez.
All right, friend. Well, I appreciate it.
Like,
gave me some things to think about. So give us a call again.
Oh, wait, Zach, one more thing. Monty Python, the architect sketch. Type it in all caps. 1030, 911 plus 119. Building burns. Freemason jokes throughout the entire sketch. Monty Python, Balls Aldrin Show episode.
Okay, I'll check that out. Appreciate that.
1968.
All right. Thank you.
All right, hang in, man.
All right. Have a good one.
Shout out comment section.
All right. Have a good night. Monty Python. All right. Let's go out to Florida. Florida. Wait, I don't think that worked. Let me try again. Let's try one more time, Florida. Okay, Florida, you're on.
Hello.
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 Yeah, you're on. I hear you.
Are you there, Zach?
I'm here.
Okay. Hey, I've been, doing stuff since like the '90s, looking for truth and everything when the internet came out, and it like Bloodlines of the Illuminati and stuff, a book by Fritz Brinkmeyer and all that, studying the families, and then 9/11 happened, and that was easy to see that was like controlled and everything. Then you go further and further, and now I see, your channel and how much control they have over the world. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Where they're doing, your Kabbalah, your ancient Kabbalah, that supposedly even King Solomon had something to do with, because he was supposed to be the wisest man, whether he actually lived or not, but that he figured out stuff like that. And is all sports are controlled, right?
I'd say the ones that have gambling associated with them are.
So boxing, like I saw that the Canelo fight was definitely a fix this time, but some of them look really real to me.
Well,
so I mean, I can tell football and basketball and baseball are fixed for sure. Since I was a kid, they've gotten worse and worse and worse.
Mm-hmm.
As far as scripted,
Mm-hmm.
like WWE.
Mm-hmm.
But boxing is hard to tell. I mean, a lot of them look real, like Spence and Porter. They beat the heck out of each other,
Sure.
So,
of course, but
that was a little hard.
Boxing's been.
Are all of them scripted?
Well, I mean, boxing's been known to be fixed since the 1800s. So, I mean, you can give the guy a beating, but if one guy knows he has to go down in a certain round at a certain time, I mean, it's not hard to orchestrate.
Yeah. It kind of sucks everything because you can't like how do you enjoy yourself,
Sure.
But what actually can people do to change? I mean, like people are vegetarians and they get together and they know that they don't want to be part of the system.
Just real quick, we got 10 seconds until the music cuts us off. But what people can do is stop investing in this system, stop going to the stadium, stop paying for the tickets, stop paying for the cable bill, and speak out and help other people. I just imagine what it'd be like if nobody showed up at an NFL stadium for the weekend. They'd be out of business, and that's what needs to happen. So we're out of show, everybody. We'll be back next Wednesday. Exactly. Sorry, caller, we ran out of time, but I do appreciate your call. We'll be right back. All right, everybody. The TFR show's over. Again, it's a 3-hour broadcast on Truth Frequency Radio. For those of you who've never checked out the Truth Frequency Radio website, you really should. It's tfrlive.com. And it is listener-supported radio. And some shows are definitely better than others. But yeah, TFR, I mean, it is an important thing at this day and age because it is censorship-free. And there's not many things like that online anymore, as we know. So for the people saying thank you in the chat, I appreciate it. You're welcome. Thank you for tuning in, and glad you guys enjoyed the show. Unfortunately, Larry Johnson didn't reach out to us tonight, but maybe we will get him on before long. That would be very cool. He said he likes the people that do gematria, so I think it's not out of the question. It would be very nice to have a former professional football player on the show to ask him these burning questions we all have. So I know a lot of people, they saw the clip I put up, and a lot of people are skeptics. Of course, we are a community of skeptics. But again, at the same time, I'm sure a lot of us have been hoping that a professional athlete would come and speak out about things. So I have to lean forward to read the chat. My eyes aren't what they used to be. Thanks for sharing the information on Twitter. That's what we need to start doing. Really, what we need to do is pound the pavement. But until we can pound the pavement, there are things we can do from the comfort of our home or wherever we are on our phone or our computer. I just imagine if we all had a message in unison and made something go viral on Twitter to just help it get in front of the eyes of more people. I mean, those of us who know about this knowledge are a very small group of people in terms of the amount of people, living today, and that needs to change. So, yeah, you shouldn't project things like that. You shouldn't say that, oh, that person's going to get murdered for speaking out. That's not really, it's not really a good thing to put out there. If it did happen, well, we would know what's up, but you shouldn't say that it's going to happen. And I think that's also a part of the cultural programming to just think that that means that you're going to get murdered if you speak out. Because people always say that Zach's a shill, otherwise he'd be killed. And it's like, well, what are you basing that in? Are you basing that in what happened in the 60s? Because again, I've said that many times. Society got programmed to shut up in the 60s because of the assassinations. And sometimes I wonder if those assassinations were really legitimate. It's hard to say. But yeah, there are consequences for speaking out. I mean, there's real consequences. I can't get a teaching job anymore, which is a bummer because I like working with students. I do hate the education system, but I still do like working with students. And honestly, I don't know if what I'm going to say is actually true, but a part of me feels like I'd rather get up in the morning than I'm saying than doing what I do right now. I like what I do right now. I like putting out this truth, but a part of me would rather get up in the morning and go to a public school classroom, even though I hate the public school system, just because each day I'd have a room full of children that I could work with, and I could see the smiles on their face, and I could laugh with them and help them out, because that's nice. And that's what I like to do. I like to work with people and help people. And I do feel like I do that through here, but it's different because, we're interacting through a computer screen, and that's not the same as interacting with people in person. And I do like working with children too. Kids are funny. They say things, they're honest. And, it's good to be, a role model type figure for young children, especially those who need one. I used to work in South Seattle, which is a poor area of town. And a lot of those children, they didn't even have their parents around. And anyway, I miss doing that. So I haven't been in a classroom since 2012. The last year I was working in a school was the year the Sandy Hook shooting happened. I was actually working at a private school that year, which was another experience. But anyway. Yeah, Jen says we're your students. Yeah, and I'm grateful for all of you. But again, it would be nice if we were in the same room rather than interacting through the computer. Like I wish I was looking at a room full of people in real life in the room. So, and I guess even that would be nice too, right? If I could actually like see the people out there watching, because what do I see in my screen right now? I see myself. I don't want to look at myself. I mean, yeah, I know. I've been bad at. That's the other thing too. I mean, I know that I'm spending way too much time right now decoding sports and helping people gamble, which is not what I want to be doing. But sadly, that's where the financial support is, and my goal is to build up enough resources to make something happen. And you know, I have to figure out how to market or something to, because it's like I've plateaued. Like I haven't been able to get past the point that we're at. And the point that I'm at is more than enough that I need for myself, but not enough to hire a team of people, which is the goal. But I mean, because so much revenue came in the last year, it allowed me to build these expensive sites and, you know, essentially finance this community that's about to get underway. I was really hoping that I'd be able to announce that the website was done, because from what I understood, we were going to be done by this point. But again, I'm used to things being delayed, so it's coming. Michael, I did a private message Larry Johnson. I have a Twitter account. So my Twitter account's free to find truth. And then I have another one that somebody set up for me that's Gematria Effect News. So I have 2 Twitter accounts. But I'm not real active on there. I always forget to use it. All right, you guys. Well, we can wrap it up for tonight. What's up, Jonathan? What's up, Martin? I see you guys out there. And those are 2 gentlemen who'd make 2 great employees. But we're going to have to figure out how to build up the resources. Somebody called in earlier, or one of the callers earlier said on the new website, it'd be cool if there was something like some sort of fundraiser campaign to reach a goal, to make something happen. And I was thinking about the same thing, like, you know, let's raise $40,000 so that we can hire this person to be this employee. And then once that's done, let's raise another $40,000. And I guess you'd have to be willing to work for $40,000 a year, but I'm just thinking about what's reasonable to do this work in an annual salary. Like, to me, I would easily do this work for $40,000. As you'd know, I do it for free, which I did for many years. But I know that you can live on $40,000. That's not a rich person's salary, but it's enough to feed yourself and pay the bills. And I think it's like about the right starting salary for a startup company trying to make something happen. And hopefully those types of things will happen in time. We have to figure out a way to make it happen. There has to be a committed team of people that have enough free time like I do and can do this as their full-time thing to further the movement. So somebody said, let's raise 40,000 to have a get together and a party. You know, that could be an idea too. I mean, if we had millions of people and, you know, hey, chip in 50 cents so that we can rent out a big thing and have a huge gathering and raise awareness. I mean, yeah, that could be it. I think 40,000 though would be better to hire an employee than have a party at first. I don't know. We can always have a vote to see. Maybe you guys disagree, but yeah, and 40,000 if you're in New York City doesn't pay for anything. Yeah, I get that. I'm thinking, you know, based on where I live. If you had 40,000 in this community, you'd be fine. You can rent a place for around $800 a month, $800 to $1,000 a month. So I know you can live on 40,000. Exactly. That's why I want to talk to Larry Johnson too, man. That guy should have some millions tucked away. Let's see how serious Larry Johnson is about changing the world and ending the satanic cabal, because I heard him talking about it. I know if I had Larry Johnson kind of money, things would be different. So, and sometimes I think about if I hadn't done this and I just stayed focused on the business I had going, sometimes I think I might have millions by now, but I can't go back and change the way things worked out. So anyway, Martin, I did not see your post. I appreciate it. I'm sure it's a great comment, but I'm sure it's also buried under 1,000 comments by the trolls already. So, but yeah, I appreciate that you're always very supportive, Martin. And I do see you sometimes try to argue with the trolls, but we both know that's futile. They're just gonna rain hate all day. So. If I talk to Larry Johnson, I'm definitely going to question him about some things. Because I found it funny how he said, I'm not sure if the league was rigged when I was in it. Oh, come on, man. But yeah, there's definitely some things I want to ask him about. And I don't know if you guys saw the video I did before I was aware that, when it first made headlines that Larry Johnson was speaking out about the, how's that word that he uses? What's the word? I don't use that word. I would say feminine or feminized. He's got a more articulate word. The effeminate agenda or whatever that is, whatever that phrasing is that he uses, it equals 82. And when he tweeted that for the first time, which made the headlines, it was 82 days from his birthday. So I was like, okay. And remember, if you missed what I said earlier about Larry Johnson, what the first thing I thought about, and this is before that I saw that, he spoke up about gematria and stuff. So now I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to scare him off. But when I first saw this, I just thought it was a ploy because I was thinking, okay, Larry Johnson, there used to be the basketball player Larry Johnson, and he dressed up as a woman, grandmama, and grandmama equals 54, and it's the year of Super Bowl 54. And Larry Johnson, the football player used to play for the Chiefs, and they're one of the favorite teams this year. So, yeah, there is an organic side. Maybe he had no idea that it was 82 days from his birthday, and he was saying, this phrase that equals 82. But, it is interesting. So, I know a lot of you guys think he's shilling, but even if he is, I'll take it. He's the only pro football player I see speaking out right now saying the game's all fixed and, it's part of it. Because you know what? Like I said, even when the news first broke, it was like, well, it's kind of weird because what he's saying is true. And it looks like it's by the numbers news story. But, you can't disagree with the things he's pointing out. So is there some other motivation? Is he being put up to it? Why would he mention gematria? So I don't know. That's why I want to talk to him. Yeah, he did go to Penn State. Yeah, I remember when he was in college. Yeah, for people who don't know, Larry Johnson was one of the best players in the whole league. So. Sardwin says they always lie with a tiny bit of truth, but honestly, I haven't really heard him lying. The only lie I could say that maybe he said is he doesn't know if the league was rigged when he was in it. But it's possible. It's possible that what did he say? He said, I don't know if it was rigged when I was in it. I was so focused in my matrix of, just executing the plays I was given. So anyway, I don't know. I kind of have trouble with that statement because you just watch these guys. You can see when they know when they're supposed to turn over the ball. You can see them purposefully coughing it up. It's so, I don't know. It's possible that not every player is assigned to be in on the fix. But anyway, that's why we got to talk to Larry about it. We got to ask Larry. I don't know. I don't know what Derek's deal is, man. So I honestly think it's because I haven't been super supportive of his everything's connected to an eclipse theory. I think he expected more backup from me on the eclipse thing, and I guess it's fitting I'm wearing this shirt because that's how it all started, right? Chris Cornell and then myself and others pointed out that his death was synced up with the upcoming solar eclipse at the time, and then shortly after that, Derek started connecting everything to eclipses, and I was like, I don't know about this, but I don't know. I think that's the underlying problem with that Derek has with me is that I don't think that everything's connected to the eclipse. I think he's right about some of it, but not everything. And I think that's part of the reason that he's being selective about the things he covers now. I think he's only doing a video if he can connect it to an eclipse some way. Because he's skipping a lot of important things that he could be talking about. I'm like, well, why didn't he cover that? Or why did he choose this topic? Did he choose this topic because he could connect it to the eclipse? I mean, what about the last 8 important stories that he didn't do anything on? So I don't know. All right, Martin. I will look for that email. I appreciate it. Yeah, I don't think people should be hating on Larry Johnson. I mean, it's nice that he's speaking out. And it's nice that he acknowledged gematria. Have you heard anybody else in the world of celebrity acknowledge gematria? He's the first person. Well, I guess if you want to count Jeff Young, who used to have me on his radio show. Jeff Young used to be the guitarist for Megadeth. I used to do his radio show every Monday. And him and I had a falling out because I didn't take his word for what he had to say about the Vegas shooting. He wanted me to believe that a lot of people got killed. And I don't know, maybe he was right about that, but he didn't have very good evidence. He didn't, so I don't know, man. Thanks for the super chat. Yeah, what about November 8th? Again, that's the date that I'm keeping my eye on. It's this Friday. And again, every single date so far this year that's had a 118 connection, there's been a story related to like a shooting or a tragedy at a spiritual connected place. And it's been Christian churches, it's been Muslim mosques, it's been Jewish synagogues. So far, every single date this year that's had the 118 connection, you've seen some story like that. So I imagine the trend will continue Friday. And again, Friday is also the 1-year anniversary of the burning of Paradise, California, and Los Angeles, California. And both Paradise, California, and Los Angeles, California equal 118. And then November 8th is also the day leaving 53 days left in the year. And burn equals 53. Paradise alone equals 53. Los Angeles equals 53. And with regards to the whole religious thing, religion equals 53. Let me check something real quick. I think Tisha B'Av equals 53 too. Let me see real quick. Tisha B'Av. Oops, I spelled it wrong. Yeah, Tisha B'Av's 53 too. So again, Tisha B'Av was on August 11th. But yeah, I'm sure there'll be something tragic in the news on November 8th. And I mean, it remains to be seen what that is. There's so many stories that we've like been given bits and pieces of this year, and then they disappear and they come back. And I don't know. We'll see. So, like the whole thing with Iran and the seizing of the ships and shooting down the drones. I mean, where's that going? Now they put it on the back burner, and it's like, again, we got another Trump investigation, but I imagine the story will come back. For all the people saying, who's Derek? Derek's the guy who built the Gematrinator calculator. So Derek's someone who found my work. I forget now. I lost track of time. I want to say Derek found the work. I can't remember if it was late 2015 or 2016, but he found the work and he thought I was crazy. And he had some computer programming skills, so he built a calculator to quickly decipher things. And then he found out that I wasn't crazy. This really was what was going on, so he got inspired. And then he ended up building a downloadable calculator that worked on PCs. And I told him, I said, why don't you make one on a website? And he made gematrynator.com, and that's the website I'm always using. Thanks again for the super chat. I see you did another one too. Thank you. He said, new John Cena movie, Playing with Fire. Man, that's sick. I didn't know that. That is sick, man. Playing with Fire on 11/8. Man, these people got no shame. Let me check that out real quick. Playing with Fire. What's it about? With straight-laced fire superintendent Jake Carson and his elite. Remember that hit show 911? The fire station is 118 as well. The fire station's 118, and that show's been out for that show came out at the beginning of last NFL season. So last September 2018, that show came out. That's also around the same time that they first started dropping the clues with the 118, where we started to look for that number. When straight-laced fire superintendent Jake Carson and his elite team of firefighters come to the rescue of 3 siblings, they quickly realize that no amount of training could prepare them for their most challenging job yet, babysitting. As their lives, jobs, and depot get turned upside down, the 3 men soon learn that children, much like fires, are wild and unpredictable. Let me just see if they coded anything into any of this stuff. Jake Carson's 97, the 25th prime, like Fire's 25. Babysitting 70, like Fire. Playing with Fire. Playing with Fire is 223, like August 11th, the 223rd day of the year. And I guess I'll just see how many days it is from John Cena's birthday. That film, you know what? November 8th, 19, 11 plus 8 plus 19 is 38. Fire is also 38. Death is 38 and 118. I'm sure we'll read about some celebrity death that day. I mean, you got 2 very common death numbers there, 38 and 118. Let me see. What's John Cena's birthday? How old is he anyway? John Cena's 42 right now. His birthday is the 113th day of the year, April 23rd. Let's see. April 23rd, 2019 to the film comes out 199 days after his birthday. That's the 46th prime. It's a chaos number. But yeah, I definitely got my eye on November 8th. So all right, appreciate that heads up. I didn't know he had that movie coming out, but yeah, that's some serious mockery on the 1-year anniversary of those major fires. Yeah, John Cena and Brady are both 42. They sure are. They used him as a ritual. The year the Patriots beat the Falcons in the Super Bowl. I forget what the event is that's right around the time of the Super Bowl. Royal Rumble, I think, maybe. But John Cena beat the guy from Atlanta. John Cena is like a Boston area guy. So Boston area guy beats the Atlanta guy right before the Super Bowl, where the Boston team, the Patriots, beats the Atlanta team, the Falcons. A documentary came out on Netflix, Paradise on Fire, huh? Came out November 1st. I'll have to check that out. I got to do more work on Thursday Night Football. I haven't done a whole lot of work on it yet, Martin. I don't know if you're joking about the fallout with Jeff Young over that, but no, it wasn't that, man. He was mad at me for not trusting him about the shooting at Vegas. And I told him, I said, I'm just the kind of person, like, it's hard for me to believe what other people tell me if I don't have the experience myself. And he didn't do the most convincing job of explaining. I said, well, how do you know if you don't know the names of anybody? And he's like, just trust me, I know. And I was like, okay, well, so. Yeah, I heard all sorts of different things about people. And what's funny is I actually found out that one of my own family members was actually at the concert when the shooting happened. My cousin's daughter, who's almost the same age as me, my cousin's way older than me. He's old enough to be my dad. His daughter's like 2 years younger than me. Apparently she was at the concert, and she's never talked to me about it. I can't get. I've reached out to her multiple times since it happened if she could tell me about what went on there, and she doesn't want to talk about it. So anyway, which is disappointing to me because I would like to know. Everyone in my family thinks I'm crazy, so my reality is like a lot of yours. Hold on, we got another caller. Caller?
Hello, Zach.
Hey.
Hey, I've actually called here before, about November 8th, this upcoming November 8th.
Mm-hmm.
And, I just heard people in the chat and also heard you talking about it. So I just wanted to mention, I remember you telling me that the Sonic movie was going to come out on November 8th, and originally it was. Now it moved to
Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day, which is the 45th day of the year, and Golden Gate equals 45, which is interesting.
I was just about to say that, and wow, yep. But the other thing is, whenever you look at the poster where he is sitting on the Golden Gate Bridge, right down by where it says November 8th, it says Sonic was here. WUZ, right? So whenever you put that into gematria, right, Sonic was here. It's 158 and 59, like Freemasonry, in reverse, right? But whenever you just say Sonic was here, like just the regular way to spell was, it's 139 and 58.
Interesting. Yeah, the other Freemasonry.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, good observation.
Yeah, thanks. And also, I saw on Gematrinator, Dan was talking about, not Dan, Derek was talking about The Rock and Donald Trump and like how I think they met at like this UFC thing. Anyway, The Rock starred in the movie San Andreas, and I forgot what day it released. I had it written down. Anyway, from whenever it released to November 8th is 163 days, like earthquake.
Oh, the anniversary of the release date?
Yeah, the anniversary of the release date.
Okay, that's interesting. That is interesting.
That's all I got. I just wanted to, let that be known about the Sonic movie because I thought that was interesting. And then, like you said, 45, like Golden Gate.
Yeah, what I just wanted to look real quick since you brought that up. July 4th to November 8th, since we had the big earthquake in Southern California, July 4th. July 4th to November 8th is a span of 128 days, and Independence Day equals 128. So
Bridge collapse equals 128.
That'd be something else. So
Yeah, actually, it's funny you brought that up because I had actually called in about that before, about the 128 thing. But also, sorry, there's one more thing, but I think I forgot it. Yeah, I did end up bringing it up to you about how it might be a skull and bones ritual because from Loma Prieta earthquake to November 8th is 30 years.
I think you cut out. Are you there?
Oh yeah, I'm still here.
You cut out. From the Loma Prieta earthquake to then is what?
Is 30 years and 22 days, kind of like 322. And whenever you write out 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake, it's 118. And whenever you write out George Herbert Walker Bush, it's 118.
And if you write out the word ossuary, it's 118, and that's where Skull and Bones gets their symbolism from. Huh, that's interesting. So
yeah, and also West Coast equals 118. California fault line equals 118 also. So it would be a perfect day for it to happen.
Well, it'd be a real mocking too. Massive fires, and then a year later, a major earthquake on the same day. So it'd be something else.
Yeah, exactly. Although people are not going to clue in. I've told so many people about what's going on, and a whole lot of them just look at me like I'm crazy.
I know how it goes, man. So.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. You've been doing it for years. But anyway, that's all I had, and I'm definitely going to be keeping a lookout on November 8th.
All right, appreciate it. Take care.
All right.
That's it. It's also 4 months and 4 days from July 4th to November 8th, and earthquake's 44. So we'll see. We'll see. I can't believe that movie coming out that day, though. Playing with Fire, is that what it was called? Jeff says it's 127 days. Yeah, that is true. It is 127 days, Jeff, but if you count the span, it's a span of 128 days. It's 127 days after July 4th, but a span of days means you include July 4th as well. So that's why I said a span. You got to listen to my words. I didn't say it was 127 days after. I said it's a span of 128 days. It's just like if my birthday is July 21st, which it is, July 22nd is 1 day after my birthday, but is it my first day of being, my age on July 22nd? No, it's my second day. It's a span of 2 days. So that's the difference between the two measurements. $127 garlic fall. God, what day was that garlic festival shooting? Let's go back and look at that. It's all riddles. 127, I mean, is no joke of a number in itself. I mean, that's the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry and Bavarian Illuminati number. And, of course, you got Pearl Harbor Day on December 7th, 127. And then you got the new Pearl Harbor, 9/11, buildings 127. So, yeah, the 127 days after is also interesting. But the span of 128 just stood out to me because Independence Day, I know that equals 128. Caller?
Hey, just one more thing. You were just talking about the Gilroy Garlic Festival, right? Well, it happened on July 28th. And from then to November 8th is 104 days with the end date. And that's Gilroy Garlic Festival equals 104. Also, it's 3 months and 12 days. And in Satanic Gematria, garlic equals 312. And big one also equals 312 in Sumerian.
And from the Garlic Festival to November 8th is a span of 3 months and 12 days. Huh.
Yeah. Span of 3 months and 12 days and 104 days. Gilroy Garlic Festival.
Yeah,
so
that's wild.
You know how they like their play on words and stuff. It's kind of lame at this point.
Yeah, it could be. They could do anything that day. They could have another shooting. They could have a shooting and an earthquake. I mean, I'm sure we'll see something in the news November 8th. They like those numbers too much. So.
Yeah, you're right. But all right, bye.
All right, take care, man.
Okay.
Yeah, good work. So, okie dokie. Let's see. The Garlic Festival shooter's brother trains with the police boxing squad. Huh? I don't know where you got that tidbit from. That's interesting. There's a lawyer from Kansas City named Denise LeBaron Ramos, who is related to the Mexican Mormons, or the Mexico Mormon shooting thing. She was interviewed. I think it connects to Chiefs. And Reed, that's true. Andy Reid is a Mormon. You're right about that. We're going to have to think about that one. Trying to keep up here with the chat. Yeah, sorry about that, Martin. They've made up so many different troll accounts and imitated people. It's pathetic, man. And it's just like at certain hours of the day, I'll start getting phone calls about, is your fridge for sale? Is your couch for sale? Is your TV? Do you have the free TV? The idiot trolls keep putting out the Gematria hotline on Craigslist ads that are not real. So, yeah, they are something else. YK Osiris, is that what that says? What's that? YK Osiris. He's a rapper. Okay. Arrested on aggravated assault charges. I didn't know about this, but I see it now, so it looks like it was today's news. There was something that flashed the other day, now that I see this rapper. Some rapper died on November 4th. It was, I got a notification for that, and I forgot to look at it. I don't know how well known they were, but it was like on heavy.com. Aspiring rapper dead in SUV after crashing into dry cleaners. So on ABC 13, some other stuff. Happened in Houston, Texas. So that makes me think about, what that makes me think about is how the Nationals were being congratulated at the White House that same day for the World Series over Houston. This guy was shot at 11 p.m. on the 58. I said he was shot. Sorry, his car crashed at 11 p.m. on the 5800 block. So that's just why it's like, why is it this way? Like everything you look at, it's like, okay, the same numbers again. That date had 34 numerology, murders 34. It was the day leaving 57 days left in the year, World Series 57. The Astros just picked up their 57th loss in the postseason to the Nationals. Nationals 57. Again, they were at the White House that day. So I will have to look into this story too. What was the rapper's name? Aspiring rapper dead in SUV after crashing into dry cleaners in Northwest Houston. How many paragraphs do I have to read before they even give us his name? They just refer to him as the victim. I don't know. I'm going to have to look more into this story. All right. But yeah, I'll look into the Osiris too. So Osiris. All right, you guys, we can wrap it up there, and I'm sure I'll be back tomorrow with whatever they got cooked up for us, and Friday is not too far off. I'm sure Friday will be eventful. So we'll leave it there. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you for tuning in, and hopefully next week when we do the show, we'll have an announcement about the website. Yeah, late night streams. I could do it. I don't know how the sweet lady's going to feel about it, but it's a thought. So, all right, you guys. Until next time.